I collect attributes in the apocalypse. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 326, Injured Retreat. Seeing the halberd in Lin Fan's hand, Liao Fihong was stunned. He could feel a chill from the halberd before he actually touched it. This chill told him that the halberd was very sharp. He could see that the halberd was a very powerful weapon. If he could get such a weapon, his fighting power would increase again. Thinking of this, he didn't hesitate at all, rushed towards Lin Fan with a broadsword in his hand, and swung it fiercely. Seeing that the broadsword was coming towards him, Lin Fan's eyes focused, and he held the halberd tightly and raised it diagonally. Ka! The collision between the broadsword and the halberd made a crisp sound, like the collision of metal and iron. Naturally, Liao Fihong's broadsword attack was completely blocked by Lin Fan. When Liao Fihong put the sword back, the broadsword was shaking constantly, and if you listen carefully, you could even hear the buzzing sound of the broadsword because of the shaking. So strong, Liao Fihong was shocked. As soon as he made contact, he could sense that the halberd in Lin Fan's hand was really extremely powerful, at least definitely stronger than his broadsword. He couldn't help wondering what material Lin Fan's halberd was made of. Swish! Lin Fan held the halberd with both hands, leaped up, drew a beautiful arc in the air, and slashed heavily at Liao Fihong, with a slight sound of breaking through the air. That was the sound made when the halberd blade passed through the air. Liao Fihong didn't have time to think about it, and also held the hilt with both hands, blocking in front of his body to meet the attack of the halberd. Clang! Another sound of metal-like collision spread out. It can be clearly seen that after Liao Fihong's broadsword withstood this attack, there was an obvious gap on the blade. Liao Fihong was shocked. His broadsword was also made of a special material, and it was not an exaggeration to describe it as indestructible. Unexpectedly, a gap appeared when it collided with Lin Fan's halberd. What does this mean? This means that the halberd in Lin Fan's hand is obviously much sharper than his broadsword. Clang! Clang! Lin Fan did not give Liao Fihong a chance to breathe. After the halberd chopped off, he launched a new round of attacks while Liao Fihong was still not able to react. In this situation, Liao Fihong could only be forced to resist, and he did not even have much chance to dodge. There were more and more gaps on the broadsword, and one of them was getting deeper and deeper. Because when Lin Fan chopped it down, he deliberately aimed at the gap. He was going to completely chop off Liao Fihong's broadsword. This idea was not impossible to achieve. After all, the halberd in his hand was a powerful weapon made of thunder nickel steel by a forger like Wang Lao. Even if the broadsword in Liao Fihong's hand was also made of thunder nickel steel, it could not be the opponent of this halberd. After all, there was a difference in forging level. What's more, the broadsword in Liao Fihong's hand was not a weapon made of thunder nickel steel at all. With such a difference, Lin Fan certainly had the confidence to destroy Liao Fihong's broadsword. Clang! Clang! The halberd continued to chop on the broadsword. The notch on the blade was already 7 or 8 centimeters deep. Crack! A hint of ruthlessness flashed across Lin Fan's eyes, and he once again chopped up with the halberd with all his strength, hitting the deepest notch squarely. With a crack, the broadsword broke at the notch. The sudden break of the broadsword caught everyone by surprise, including Liao Fihong himself. He did not expect that the broadsword would be broken by Lin Fan so quickly. The halberd blade continued to slash down, leaving a bloody mark on Liao Fihong's arm, and blood continued to flow out of the bloody mark. Wow! There was an uproar around. Everyone stared at the wound on Liao Fihong's hand and the broken broadsword in amazement. It can be said that this caused a huge visual impact on them. Injured. Liao Fihong was actually injured. This is their deputy gang leader. In the eyes of this group of people, Liao Fihong has never been defeated. However, at this moment, although it was not a failure, even the weapon was broken, and the arm was injured and bleeding. Such a result was something they had never expected. Yet, Brother Lin Fan is so handsome, Muran Shan said with joy. Muranzu's eyes were shining. Li Zihim looked at Lin Fan with admiration and appreciation. To be honest, she didn't think that Lin Fan could hurt Liao Fihong at first. She just wanted Lin Fan to be able to resist Liao Fihong. In this way, Liao Fihong couldn't run wild in their Li family. Liao Fihong's eyes flashed coldly. He looked at the wound on his arm and the broken big knife on the ground. Even if he didn't want to admit it in his heart, the facts were already in front of him. In this battle, he was indeed at a disadvantage and didn't have any advantage at all. Boy, you are lucky today. I will remember this account. Liao Fihong took a deep breath and said something harsh to Lin Fan, then he turned around and walked back to the car. Let's go. He sat in the co-pilot seat and said loudly. The people from the Qinglong gang returned to the car without any delay and drove away. Liao Fihong knew very well that he had no chance of defeating Lin Fan today. He would lose face today. If he continued to delay here, there would be no other way. Moreover, now that even he was injured, their morale had been greatly hit. It was not suitable for a stalemate. After Liao Fihong and others left, Murong Shan came up and asked, Brother Lin Fan, why don't you just leave them here? He is injured, so he should not be able to beat you, right? Lin Fan glanced at Murong Shan, shook his head and said, he only suffered a little skin injury, which does not affect his combat effectiveness at all. It is not that easy to kill a third-level evolver. Moreover, if he is determined to leave, with my current strength, I can't force him to stay, so that's the case. Murong Shan nodded in understanding. However, this guy is very aware of the current situation. The attitude he showed before made me think that he had to fight me to the death today. I didn't expect that he could make the decision to retreat so decisively. He is a man who can bend and stretch. No wonder he can sit in the position of deputy leader of the Qinglong gang. Lin Fan analyzed, you know, there are so many people from their gang here, and he was injured by me, which must be a loss of face. But he didn't care about this face and turned around and left. It was not easy for him to do this. Well, Liao Fihong looks very arrogant and careless on the surface, and doesn't take others seriously, but he is very calm when he really encounters things, Li Zihan said. Chapter 327 Report in person. Yes, this kind of people are also very dangerous, Lin Fan smiled faintly, but, don't worry about it now. After they leave this time, they will not come to Zhonghe City in a short time. They will definitely wait until the first level evolvers they created are trained. Then it will be a real showdown between you and them. Brother Lin Fan, if he goes back so shamefully, will that Dongfang Ling still be able to bear it if he knows? Murong Shan asked. Of course, Lin Fan smiled and said, he was defeated, not Dongfang Ling. Even if he can represent the Qinglong gang, the most important thing is that he knows that my strength has reached the third level of evolution. This will make Dongfang Ling secretly guess whether the Li family has hidden more power, and the more Dongfang Ling guesses, the less he will act rashly. He will definitely come here after being fully prepared, so, during this period of time, the Li family must also improve quickly, and must seize the time to contact those who want to fight against them and set up an alliance as soon as possible. Only in this way can we better fight against them later. Lin Fan, listening to your analysis of these, I can only express my feelings with admiration. It feels like listening to a book, and people can't help but want to continue listening, Li Zihan praised. Murong Zhu and Murong Shan looked at each other and nodded together, agreeing very much with Li Zihan's statement. Because they both felt that Lin Fan's analysis was indeed quite exciting, much more exciting than reading an attractive novel. Lin Fan shook his head helplessly, don't flatter me. If I make a wrong analysis in the future, won't I be very embarrassed? Haha. Murong Zhu, Murong Shan and Li Zihan all laughed. Then, Li Zihan looked at the Li family members around him and ordered, what happened just now is over. Next, you just need to continue to do what you should do. Yes, miss, the Li family members around replied in unison. Lin Fan and the other four did not waste any more time here and returned to the Li family. After entering the courtyard, Murong Zhu and Murong Shan began their sparring. Lin Fan returned to the room and continued to practice his superpowers. If I mastered my superpowers very well and had hidden weapons, I would definitely have had a chance to kill Liao Fihong when I fought him before, Lin Fan thought secretly. He currently does not have a good grasp of superpowers, and does not have hidden weapons to control. Otherwise, he used the long halberd to chop the broadsword continuously, and during the period when Liao Fihong was resisting, he had many opportunities to use hidden weapons to sneak attack Liao Fihong. Even if the hidden weapon sneak attack could not kill Liao Fihong, his own attack would certainly end Liao Fihong's life. Unfortunately. Shaking his head, Lin Fan stopped thinking about this problem and continued to practice. In the co-pilot seat, Liao Fihong had simply bandaged the wound with the gauze. He had not said a word since he got on the car. Since he did not speak, the rest of the people in the car did not dare to speak. because they all knew that Liao Fihong must be angry at the moment. If they said something they shouldn't say, they would be scolded by Liao Fihong. After about 10 minutes, when they were about to get on the highway, Liao Fihong finally said, "What happened today is very important. Let the car behind them go back and we will go directly to the headquarters. I want to tell the gang leader in person." "Okay, deputy gang leader," the driver nodded quickly. Hearing Liao Fihong's calm tone, he slowly breathed a sigh of relief. The silence just now made him feel a little too depressed. Then, Liao Fihong glanced at the informant sitting in the back seat through the rearview mirror and said, "You have seen this specific situation with your own eyes. When the time comes, you will go to see the gang leader with me and report everything truthfully." "Yes," the informant nodded. When they arrived at the fork in the road, the driver stopped the car and told the people behind them to go back first. Seeing their convoy on the way back, the driver sat back in the driver's seat and drove towards Bayan City. At night, when the sky was completely dark, the car arrived at the base headquarters in Bayan City. The driver parked the car, and Liao Fihong took the informant to find Dongfang Ling. In the villa, Dongfang Ling sat on the sofa, and sitting opposite him was Tian Xiaobing. "Gang leader, I have selected the list. Do you want to take a look?" Tian Xiaobing held a piece of paper with densely written names in his hand and was about to hand it to Dongfang Ling for review. Dongfang Ling shook his head and said, "I won't look at it. I am very confident in the people you selected." This list was selected by Tian Xiaobing from the crowd. The purpose is very simple, that is, to inject mutagenic factors into these people and make them evolvers. Only when they become evolvers can he start special training for them. Most of these people are the best among ordinary people. Tian Xiaobing did not mix any selfish motives in the selection process. After all, he was afraid that Dongfang Ling would find out something fishy, so he naturally did not have the courage to mix selfish motives. "Okay, boss, then I will inject mutagenic factors into these people tomorrow." Tian Xiaobing did not expect Dongfang Ling to not even look at the list, so he had to take the list back and put it away. "Yet," Dongfang Ling nodded. "By the way, boss, is there any news from Liao Fihong?" Tian Xiaobing asked curiously. "Not yet," Dongfang Ling frowned slightly and said, "The person who was arranged to notify has not returned yet, and I don't know what he is doing." "Then should we arrange someone to go and take a look?" Tian Xiaobing asked. "Okay," Dongfang Ling nodded again. "I'll go and arrange it now." Tian Xiaobing stood up and was about to leave here to arrange for someone to go to Liao Fihong's place, but he just happened to see Liao Fihong and the informant walking in from the door. "Boss," Liao Fihong and the informant walked into the room and greeted Dongfang Ling one after another. "We were just planning to send someone to take a look, but we didn't expect you to come," Tian Xiaobing said. "Fihong, what's wrong with your hand? Is it hurt?" Dongfang Ling also took a look at the bandage on Liao Fihong's hand. He was about to ask, but since Tian Xiaobing had already asked, there was no need for him to ask again. He just had to wait for Liao Fihong to say it himself. "Injured," Liao Fihong said. "What? Injured? Injured by whom?" Tian Xiaobing was slightly startled, then thought of something and asked, "The boss asked you to go to the Li family to ask for an explanation. Could it be that Li Xianun attacked you and injured you?" "It wasn't Li Xianun," Liao Fihong shook his head. "Not Li Xianun?" Tian Xiaobing was stunned. "Who else in the Li family can hurt you? Or did you not have time to go to the Li family yet?" Chapter 328 Not Suitable for Action. Tian Xiaobing was very clear about how strong Liao Fihong was. Only Li Xianun in the Li family was a level 3 evolver. If Li Xianun hadn't injured Liao Fihong, he couldn't think of anyone else in the Li family who could do this. As for the level 3 evolvers from other family forces in Tonghe, it was even more impossible for them to go against Liao Fihong. Only the Li family dared to stand up openly. "I went to the Li family. It was Lin Fan who injured me." Liao Fihong took a deep breath and said it shamelessly. When he said this, he felt a burning sensation on his face. After all, this was not a glorious thing, but rather a disgrace. "What?" Hearing this, Dongfang Ling and Tian Xiaobing were both shocked. Tian Xiaobing thought he had heard the name wrong, and asked uncertainly, "Lin Fan? Are you talking about the boy who follows Li Zihan?" "Yes, that's him," Liao Fihong nodded. "How is this possible?" Tian Xiaobing said in disbelief. "I heard from Liu Feng that the guy is only a first-level evolver. With such strength, how can he hurt you? Unless you stand there and let him hit you." Not only Tian Xiaobing had such thoughts, Dongfang Ling also thought so. A third-level evolver was injured by a first-level evolver. If this kind of thing is spread out, who would believe it is true, except that they think that the third-level evolver was just being beaten by the other party for nothing? He is not a first-level evolver at all, but a third-level evolver, Liao Fihong said hatefully. As soon as these words came out, the atmosphere in the whole room froze. After a long while, Dongfang Ling finally said, "Third-level evolver? Are you sure, boss? How dare I lie in front of you?" Liao Fihong looked at the reporter next to him and said, "When I went to the Li family, Xiaoliu went with me. He was there watching the whole time. If you don't believe it, you can ask Xiaoliu if what I said is true." Dongfang Ling and Bian Xiaobing's eyes fell on Xiaoliu. Feeling the gazes, Xiaoliu did not hesitate and said quickly, "Boss, what Deputy Boss Liao said is not false at all. I saw it all with my own eyes. That Lin Fan really has the strength of a third-level evolver. The wound on Deputy Boss Liao's hand was caused by Lin Fan. Interesting, really interesting. We all misjudged him. I didn't expect that kid to hide so deeply and actually have the strength of a third-level evolver," Dongfang Ling said. "I guess he only had the strength of a second-level evolver at the beginning. He must have absorbed the 2 third-level energy crystals obtained from the auction, so he has the strength of a third-level evolver," Tian Xiaobing said. "It's possible," Dongfang Ling nodded. "If Lin Fan has the strength of a third-level evolver without relying on 2 third-level energy crystals, then his potential is really too terrifying. Boss, that kid has the strength of a third-level evolver, so the deaths of Liu Feng, Meng Yuan and others are not surprising," Tian Xiaobing pondered and said, "Maybe there was no ambush in that playground. It was just that kid who killed them and then deliberately created some gunshot wounds to induce us to make a wrong judgment." "Well, that should be the case," Dongfang Ling nodded again. At this moment, in his heart, he also had a different evaluation of Lin Fan. But soon, he thought of another problem. His eyes fell on Liao Fihong again and said, "Fihong, that kid's strength should have just broken through to the third-level evolver, and you have broken through to the third-level evolver for so long. Logically, he should not be your opponent. How could you be injured by him, boss? You may not believe it. When I fought with that kid bare-handed, I hit him, but he didn't feel much pain, and his body gave me a very solid feeling," Liao Fihong said. "Yes, boss, I saw this too, and the brothers who went with us saw it clearly. Lin Fan and Deputy Boss Liao were fighting head-on. After being hit by Deputy Boss Liao's punch, I have never seen a painful expression on his face. He seemed to be fine," Xiaoliu said. "No pain," Dongfang Ling frowned and thought for a while, then spoke. "Could it be that he has awakened a superpower, and the superpower just happened to make his physical fitness stronger? I have this guess, otherwise, there is really no way to explain such a weird thing," Liao Fihong nodded. As he said that, he added, "I couldn't hurt him with my bare hands, so I used my bare knife to fight him. As a result, he took out a long halberd. I don't know what material the long halberd was forged with, but it was so sharp that my bare knife was cut off by him." Thinking of this, he felt a pang of pain in his heart. The big knife had been with him for so long and helped him kill so many zombies, but it was gone just like that. "Fihong, your sword is also made of special materials. How could it be cut off by him?" Tian Xiaobing asked in disbelief. "Yes," Liao Fihong sighed and said, "although it was not chopped off in one go, it did not hold up for a few strokes before being chopped off. It was because the broadsword was chopped off that I got injured in my hand. Then I did not continue to fight with him, took my men away, and immediately came here to report the news to the gang leader." "You did the right thing. In this situation, it is not wise to continue fighting with the other party. It is just reckless." Dongfang Ling glanced at Liao Fihong. He knew that Liao Fihong and Xiaoliu did not dare to lie in front of him. He said, "The fact that his weapon can chop off your broadsword is enough to show that the forging material of the halberd is better. Gang leader, this kid must not be kept." A hint of murderous intent flashed in Bian Xiaobing's eyes, and he said, "He has become a third-level evolver, and may have supernatural powers to make his physical fitness stronger. In addition, he has such a powerful weapon in his hand. If he is allowed to grow, he will inevitably become a huge threat to our Qinglong gang in the future. Gang leader, I think we should get rid of him immediately to prevent him from really growing up." "Gang leader, I think so too," Liao Fihong followed. Dongfang Ling did not answer them immediately, but fell into deep thought. After 2 minutes, Dongfang Ling shook his head and said, "It is not appropriate to take action now, boss." Tian Xiaobing and Liao Fihong were both stunned. Dongfang Ling stopped and said, "Our top priority now is to create a first-level evolver and give them rich combat experience. Our goal is not to eliminate the Li family, but the entire Honghe. We cannot let the Li family delay our plan." Chapter 329 Arrival at Fang's house. "But if we let that kid grow up, it will be disadvantageous to us," Tian Xiaobing said. "According to our plan, we will be able to expand thoroughly in no more than 3 months, Dongfang Ling said in a deep voice. "In such a short time, I believe his strength will not improve much. He himself is a level 3 evolver, and a top level 3 evolver. Naturally, he knows how difficult it is to improve strength after reaching the level of a level 3 evolver. He does not deny that Lin Fan has great potential for growth, but he does not think that Lin Fan is his opponent. As long as Lin Fan fights him, he will be absolutely sure to kill Lin Fan. This is his confidence as a top level 3 evolver. Of course, he also wants to see if his strength can go further during this period of time and enter the level of a driver evolver. Once he can really enter the level of a level 4 evolver, who in the whole Honghe can stop him?" Dongfang Ling said so. Tian Xiaobing and Liao Fihong naturally would not have any objections. They can sit in the position of deputy gang leader today, all because of Dongfang Ling's words. If Dongfang Ling wanted to revoke their position as deputy gang leader, they could only accept it silently. Therefore, following Dongfang Ling's wishes was the most important thing they should do. The gang leader is right. Tian Xiaobing and Liao Fihong looked at each other and said in unison. "By the way, Fihong, you said that Li Xianyun and Li Changjin are not at the Li family, so do you know where they went?" Dongfang Ling asked again. "Boss, I really don't know. When we arrived at the Li family, we couldn't get in at all. We were just outside the gate," Liao Fihong said, "but judging from their reactions, there is at least a 95% chance that Li Xianyun and Li Changjin are not at home. Strange, after getting rid of the Zhuang family, shouldn't these two people stay in the family to arrange the work of Tuangai City? Why did they run outside?" Tian Xiaobing frowned and said, "The key is, what did they do when they went out? Send someone to secretly watch them and try to find an opportunity to find out where Li Xianyun and Li Changjin went and what they did." Dongfang Ling ordered, "Arrange someone with outstanding abilities to go, so that the Li family will not find out and fall into their hands." "Okay, boss, I'll arrange it later." Tian Xiaobing nodded. He was also very curious about the problem of Li Xianyun and Li Changjin. "Okay, this matter has come to an end for the time being. Starting tomorrow, Xiaobing, you will start to create evolvers and then train them as quickly as possible." While speaking, Dongfang Ling looked at Liao Fihong again and said, "Fihong, as for you, just go back and watch it. When we launch an attack on the Li family, you can directly bring people to support us." "Yes." Tian Xiaobing and Liao Fihong nodded at the same time. "Well, let's all go down." Dongfang Ling waved his hand. Tian Xiaobing and Liao Fihong did not stay any longer. They walked out of the villa with Xiaoliu. Xiaoliu was quickly sent away by Tian Xiaobing, and Tian Xiaobing took Liao Fihong back to his own villa. "Fihong, we two brothers will not say anything else. I want to ask you, is Lin Fan really that strong?" Tian Xiaobing sat on the sofa, looking at Liao Fihong, and asked with a serious face. "He is really strong." Liao Fihong knew that Tian Xiaobing was not mocking him, so he took a deep breath and nodded. "To be honest, even if he didn't have that halberd, I'm afraid I couldn't defeat him." "Can't defeat him without that halberd?" Tian Xiaobing was stunned. "Yes," Liao Fihong nodded again and said, "because he has a lot of combat experience. Sometimes he seems to be able to see through my attacks, and can always predict how I will attack and from which angle. This is absolutely impossible without rich combat experience." "Damn. It's really strange. When did such a young guy accumulate combat experience?" Tian Xiaobing couldn't help but curse. "I don't know. Anyway, this kid is definitely a big threat to us," Liao Fihong said. "I know he's a big threat, but the gang leader has made a decision, and we can't deal with him now. We can only take one step at a time," Tian Xiaobing said. "That's natural," Liao Fihong nodded. The two of them didn't have the courage to disobey Dongfang Ling's arrangement. "Well, you can rest here tonight. It won't be too late to go back tomorrow morning." Tian Xiaobing made some arrangements. Liao Fihong thought that there was nothing else to do when he went back tonight, so he stayed at Tian Xiaobing's place. The next morning, he asked the driver to drive him back. Li's house. In the courtyard, two figures were constantly fighting. These two figures were naturally Murinzu and Murinshan. Lin Fan did not practice his supernatural powers in the room at this time, but came to the courtyard to watch the competition between Murinzu and Murinshan. Watching such beauties fighting is naturally a beautiful scenery. Bang! Bang! Murinzu and Murinshan continued to fight for 20 minutes, and the two sisters stopped. Not bad, not bad, Xiao Shan, you have made great progress. Lin Fan looked at Murinshan and praised her. He had been observing the fight between the two sisters carefully, and he could see that Murinshan was always making progress. Hearing Lin Fan's praise, Murinshan smiled happily and said, Brother Lin Fan, no matter how much I improve, I can't catch up with you, but my shooting skills can compare with yours. Lin Fan smiled. As the saying goes, every profession has its own specialty. Murinshan awakened the ability of a sharpshooter. In the initial stage, Lin Fan might still be able to beat her, but the more he improves, the better his shooting skills will be. At that time, Lin Fan can compare with him. You must be a little tired after sparring for so long. Take a good rest first, Lin Fan said. Well, okay, Murinzu and Murinshan had no objection to this. They still understood the principle of combining work and rest. What's more, accumulating combat experience is not something that can be achieved overnight. It must be done step by step. Not long after, Li Zihan came to call them over to eat. On the other side, Li Xianun and Li Changjin were driving on a road. Li Changjin glanced ahead and said, Dad, at our current speed, we should be able to reach the Fang family in 10 minutes. Yeah, Li Xianun nodded and said, after we get to the Fang family, I will take care of all the matters, and you just need to cooperate. Okay, I know. Li Changjin also nodded. The purpose of their visit this time was to persuade the Fang family to form an alliance to fight against the Qinglong gang. On the way here, Li Xianun had already said that they could appropriately boast about the strength of their Li family. Only by showing strong strength can Fang Yongtan firmly cooperate with them. Chapter 330, The Power of a Battle. 10 minutes later, the car drove to the gate of Fang's family. The gatekeeper stopped them and asked who they were. Li Xianun rolled down the window and said with a smile, I am Li Xianun, and this is my son Li Changjin, so you are the head of the Li family. I have heard of you for a long time, the gatekeeper greeted respectfully. He had heard of Li Xianun's reputation a long time ago, so it was impossible for him not to know him. We are here to visit the head of the Fang family. I wonder if he is at home, Li Xianun asked. Yes, the gatekeeper nodded, please follow me in. I will take you to find the head of the family. As soon as he finished speaking, he walked in front, and Li Changjin drove slowly to catch up. After entering the Fang family and parking the car, Li Xianun and Li Changjin got out of the car and continued to follow the gatekeeper. The territory of the Fang family is also not small, covering an area of at least more than 5,000 square meters. Fang Yongtan is in the study at this time, and Fang Zhou is also here. The gatekeeper quickly took Li Xianun and Li Changjin to the outside of the study. Please wait a moment, I'll go in and inform them, the gatekeeper said. Okay, thank you, Li Xianun said politely. The gatekeeper walked into the study, looked at Fang Yongtan and Fang Zhou, and greeted them. Master, someone from the Li family is here to visit. Oh? Who is it? Fang Yongtan asked hurriedly. Li Xianun and Li Changjin, the gatekeeper replied. Where are they now? Fang Yongtan asked. Just outside the door, the gatekeeper said. Please invite them in, Fang Yongtan said, standing up from his seat. Forget it, I'll go out myself. Fang Zhou immediately followed. He liked Li Zihan. Li Zihan was Li Xianun's granddaughter and Li Changjin's daughter. With such a great opportunity, how could he not show off? The two walked out of the study and noticed Li Xianun and Li Changjin at a glance. Haha, Xianun, long time no see. How are you these days? Fang Yongtan laughed heartily. Yes, brother Fang, long time no see. Li Xianun walked up and shook hands with Fang Yongtan. Hello, Uncle Fang. Li Changjin also walked up to greet him. Hello, Changjin, Fang Yongtan nodded. Grandpa Li, Uncle Li, Fang Zhou shouted. Who is this? Li Xianun asked. He is my grandson, Fang Zhou, Fang Yongtan said with a smile. Li Xianun and Li Changjin had only heard of Fang Zhou's name before, but had never seen Fang Zhou in person. This was the first time they met, so it was normal that they didn't recognize him. Let's go to the study and sit down and talk, Feng Yongtan greeted. The four returned to the study and sat down in their respective seats. Xianyan, I have heard about what happened between you and the banker. I didn't expect the banker to be so shameless. He deserves what he has today, Feng Yongtan said. Yes, if the Zhuang family hadn't done such a shameless thing, we wouldn't have been forced to take action against them, and they wouldn't have been eliminated, Li Xianyan nodded. By the way, Grandpa Li, Uncle Li, have Zihan and Lin Fan returned to the Li family? Fang Zhou asked the question he was most concerned about. After returning to the family from the Qinglonggang base, although they didn't hear any news, which meant that Li Zihan and the others should be safe, it was always just their guess and they didn't get a definite result. Now that Li Xianyan and Li Changjin are here, if he doesn't ask, it would be too uncomfortable. They're back safely, Li Xianyan replied. Thank you for your concern, Zihan and Lin Fan are fine, Li Changjin said. Then I'm relieved, Feng Zhou smiled slightly. Brother Feng, we came to you this time because we actually have something to discuss with you, Li Xianyan said. Xianyan, we have known each other for so many years, you can just tell me if you have anything, Feng Yong said with a sigh. If you really want to talk about it, he and Li Xianyan have known each other for no less than 50 years. They knew each other when they were still children. Then I won't beat around the bush. Our Li family wants to form an alliance with your Fang family to fight against the Qinglonggang together, Li Xianyan said straight to the point. When it comes to negotiations, it is naturally better to be clear. Being hesitant will make people feel that you are not confident. In fact, Feng Yongtan probably guessed some of the intentions of Li Xianyan and Li Changjin. So, he was not surprised by what Li Xianyan said. Xianyan, fighting against the Qinglonggang is no small matter. At this trade fair, I heard Feng Zhou say that the Qinglonggang collected hundreds of mutagenic factors. With their own mutagenic factors and existing evolvers, I'm afraid that there will be thousands of evolvers soon, Feng Yongtan said in a deep voice. With such a strong lineup, I'm afraid that even if you and my family join forces, we won't be able to fight against them, right? Feng Yongtan also made the topic clear. He wanted to see how Li Xianyan could convince him to form an alliance to fight against the Qinglonggang. In other words, he wanted to see how confident the Li family was that they could fight against them. If the Li family was confident, then he was willing to form an alliance with the Li family. If the Li family was not confident, then he naturally could not form an alliance with the Li family. After all, they were also a large family with so many lives. They couldn't let their lives be lost because of his wrong decision, leading to the demise of the Fang family. Yes, the Qinglonggang did collect a lot of mutagenic factors at this trade fair, and I estimate that they will have thousands of evolvers in a short period of time, but if we don't resist, there are only two results. Either we leave Zhonghe on our own initiative, or we are eliminated by them, and if we take the initiative to leave Zhonghe and go to other provinces, we will have to face the family forces of other provinces. The local governments will definitely not let us occupy their territory easily. It will also be very difficult for us, although the Qinglonggang's lineup is strong. If our two families form an alliance, we can invite other family forces to join our alliance. In this way, the strength of the alliance will continue to grow, and we will not be able to fight against the Qinglonggang, Li Xianyan said confidently. Invite other families to join our alliance. Feng Yongtan captured the most crucial information and said, in the face of such a powerful lineup of the Qinglonggang, how many families are willing to join us? My granddaughter Li Zihan has a detailed understanding of this situation during the trade fair. She has contacted many families and roughly knows which ones are willing to join, which ones remain neutral, and which ones are willing to resist. Li Xianyan pondered and said, I calculated that if those who are willing to resist join our alliance, then we will definitely not have to worry about the Qinglonggang anymore. We will definitely be able to fight. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 331 Alliance Creation. Li Zihan knows all this. Feng Yongtan looked at Li Xianyan in surprise. Yes, I know everything, Li Xianyan nodded and said, she only has two purposes for attending the trade fair this time. The first is to understand the attitudes of various family forces, and the second is to participate in the auction. Hearing what Li Xianyan said, Feng Zhou added, Grandpa, I can confirm this. During the 2 days of the trade fair, Zihan has been talking to people from various family forces. Feng Zhou did know this situation, and he felt that he needed to come forward to confirm it. Yes, Feng Yongtin's eyes narrowed slightly. Even Feng Zhou confirmed it, so it was certainly not false. Xianyan, can you tell me in detail about the various situations you have learned about now? Feng Yongtin asked. Of course, Li Xianyan nodded, and then without delay, he immediately told Feng Yongtin what Li Zihan knew. After listening, Feng Yongtin frowned slightly and said, although there are many families willing to fight, when all of them are added together, there is still a certain gap compared to the strength of the King Longang. As the head of the Fang family, he bears the fate of the entire family. Every decision he makes must be considered for the family, not to mention such a major event related to the survival of the family, so naturally he must have enough confidence. Li Xianyan was not surprised at Feng Yongtin's answer. If Feng Yongtin agreed without hesitation when he heard him say that, it would be strange. Brother Feng, I know that even if so many of us join forces, we can't compare with them in terms of hardcore strength, but there are many cases of winning with fewer people. In such a large-scale battle, strategy is still very important, Li Xianyan said. Strategy? Feng Yongtin murmured. Brother Feng, let me tell you something, Li Xianyan pondered and said, the overall strength of the Zhuang family is actually much stronger than our Li family, but why can our Li family get rid of the Zhuang family? I really don't know the specific reason for this matter. Feng Yongtin instantly became interested. From what he knew, the Zhuang family was stronger than the Li family, but the result was that the Zhuang family was eliminated by the Li family, and the Li family did not even suffer much loss. Therefore, he was also quite curious about this matter, but he had no chance to ask Li Xianyan before. Now that Li Xianyan took the initiative to bring it up, he obviously wanted to understand it clearly. It's very simple, because we used strategies here, Li Xianyan said. Of course, these strategies were all provided by Lin Fan. Strategies provided by Lin Fan. Feng Zhou was surprised. Yes, they were all provided by Lin Fan. Li Xianyan glanced at Feng Zhou, and then described in detail the whole process of the Li family eliminating the Zhuang family. This Lin Fan actually has such a powerful strategy. Feng Yongtin was also shocked after listening. Brother Feng, I'm not exaggerating when I say that Lin Fan is the most resourceful person I've ever met in all my years of life. Not only did we rely on him to get rid of the banker, but it was also his credit that they broke out of the King Long Gang's base after the trade fair. Li Xianyan pondered, if he hadn't seen that the King Long Gang was going to keep them by force, and had left the night before when the King Long Gang wasn't paying attention, they would never have been able to break out. In addition, Lin Fan is only 20 years old, but he's already a level 3 evolver. His potential for growth can be said to be enormous. He fully supports us in fighting the King Long Gang, even asking me to contact you to create an alliance and then to attract other family forces to join was all his attention. He had anticipated all the possibilities. Li Xianyan said so much in one breath, and Feng Yongtin was stunned. Feng Zhou was even more surprised that his mouth opened wide. He didn't expect Lin Fan to be so powerful. 20 years old. Level 3 evolver. This is something they wouldn't even dare to think about on weekdays. Brother Feng, with a genius like Lin Fan helping us, I don't think we can't fight them. As long as we dare to fight, we will definitely succeed, Li Xianyan emphasized. Grandpa, I also think we should form an alliance to resist, otherwise we will have no place in Zhonghe, and we will be forced to leave at that time. We can't let them dominate alone, Feng Zhou said. Feng Yongtin took a deep breath, a firm look flashed in his eyes, and nodded heavily. Okay. Xianyan, our two families will form an alliance to fight against them together. Li Xianyan and Li Changjin looked at each other, and both of them showed joy. Li Xianyan stretched out his hand and shook hands with Feng Yongtin, saying, Great, with our two families taking the lead, the other family forces that want to resist will definitely join us, and then let Lin Fan think of a strategy. Well, when the time comes, I have to find a chance to meet Lin Fan. I also want to see what kind of young man is so smart and intelligent, Feng Yongtin said. Sure, Li Xianyan nodded, then changed the subject and said, By the way, Brother Feng, after we create this alliance, we have to win over those families and forces. What I'm thinking is that our two families will act separately. I will win over those near Zhonghe City, and you will win over those near you. Do you think it's okay? Only in this way can we make use of our time, Otherwise it will be too delayed. No problem, of course no problem. Fang Yongtan nodded and agreed immediately. Since they have formed an alliance, everyone should contribute to the alliance, and there should be no selfishness. Only by truly sharing the same hatred and enemies can we deal with it. What's more, their Fang family is also a real big family. There is naturally no problem in efficiency in this regard. Okay, Brother Fang, then this matter is settled. Li Xianun stretched out his hand to Fang Yongtan. Fang Yongtan also stretched out his hand and shook hands with Li Xianun. Grandpa Li, Uncle Li, I'll make some arrangements now. You have to have lunch here today. Let's have a drink and chat while we eat. Fang Zhou stood up and said. As soon as he finished speaking, he didn't give Li Xianun and Li Changjin a chance to refuse. He walked out directly to make arrangements for lunch. Li Xianun and Li Changjin finally came to their house, and he had to seize this opportunity to perform well. There was no other way. Li Xianun and Li Changjin had to stay for lunch. During lunch, Fang Zhou kept toasting. Fortunately, Li Xianun and Li Changjin had a good alcohol tolerance, otherwise they might get drunk like Fang Zhou. After lunch, Li Xianun and Fang Yongtan talked again for a few hours. When they were almost sober, they said goodbye and left. Driving on the way back. Chapter 332 Another thing. In the room, Lin Fan sat on a chair, staring, controlling the teacup in front of him with his mind. Get up, he said lightly in his mind, and the teacup immediately flew up, and then moved back and forth under his control, with an incredibly fast speed, and also made a whizzing sound. After controlling it for a long time, he finally let the teacup fall back on the table. It seems that I have mastered it. Lin Fan had a faint smile on his face. After his continuous practice, he had mastered the control of things within a range of 10 meters. Then, next, if there is a chance, he will have to find a hidden weapon to carry with him. With a hidden weapon on him, he can have an unexpected killing effect when fighting with others or zombies in the future. Exhaling lightly, Lin Fan stood up and walked towards the door. In the courtyard, Murenzhu and Murenshan were still practicing. Not only Murenshan has made progress, Murenzhu has also made great progress. Lin Fan did not make a sound to disturb them, but quietly walked to the side to watch. But not long after, a figure walked in. This figure was naturally Li Zihun. She had just arranged some things in the family, so she had some free time. She did not disturb Murenzhu and Murenshan. Seeing Lin Fan sitting there, she walked towards Lin Fan. By the way, Lin Fan, my grandfather gave me the 3rd level energy crystal. After I absorbed it, I felt that my strength improved a lot, Li Zihun said. Oh, Lin Fan smiled, and then used the ring to read Li Zihun's data. Sure enough, there was an improvement in the data, but it was still a little short of becoming a 3rd level evolver. What about the previous one? Lin Fan thought of when Li Xianun gave him one when he got rid of the banker, but still left one. He had not heard Li Zihun mention the 3rd level energy crystal. My grandfather seemed to have given that one to my father. I don't know how long it will take for my father to become a 3rd level evolver after absorbing it, Li Zihun replied. If your father also becomes a level 3 evolver, then the overall strength of your Li family will be greatly improved, which is definitely a good thing, especially when we have to face the Qinglong Gang next, Lin Fan said. Yes, I hope my father can break through to the level 3 evolver before the Qinglong Gang arrives, Li Zihun nodded. Miss, just as Li Zihun finished speaking, a shout came from outside the door. What's the matter? Come in and tell me. Li Zihun glanced at the courtyard gate. It was the person who informed the Li family. The man trotted into the courtyard and hurriedly said, Miss, the head of the family is back. My grandfather and my father are back. Li Zihun was slightly surprised. Yes, he just came back and is now in the study. I just want to notify you to go over, the man said. Okay, we'll go right over, Li Zihun nodded. Murenzhu and Murenshan also heard their conversation. The two sisters stopped sparring and looked at Lin Fan and Li Zihun together. Let's go to the study, Lin Fan smiled faintly. The four of them left the courtyard together and walked towards the study. Li Xianun and Li Changjin were waiting for them in the study. When they saw them come in, they asked them to sit down. Grandpa, Dad, how did your negotiation with the Fang family go this time? Li Zihun asked. Lin Fan and the other two also looked at Li Xianun and Li Changjin. Obviously, they were also curious about the answer to this question. Very smooth, Li Xianun smiled and said, They have agreed to establish an alliance with us, and also agreed that they will contact the family forces around them, and we will contact them ourselves. Have you agreed? That's great, Li Zihan said happily. At first they were a little hesitant, but after your grandfather told them about Lin Fan's affairs, they agreed instantly. Their attitude changed so quickly, Li Shangjin added from the side. My affairs, Lin Fan was stunned. Li Xianyun roughly repeated it. After listening, they realized that it was these things. Li Zihan added, Grandpa, Dad, they didn't hear about another thing Lin Fan said. If they had heard it, they would have agreed faster. Another thing? What is it? Li Xianyun and Li Changjin both showed a hint of curiosity. Lin Fan defeated Liao Fihong, the deputy leader of the Qinglong gang, Li Zihan said. What? Li Xianyun and Li Changjin stood up from their seats in excitement and looked at Lin Fan in disbelief. Little friend Lin, when did this happen? Li Xianyun asked hurriedly. Master Li, after your aunt Uncle Li went to the Fang family, Liao Fihong, the deputy leader of the Qinglong gang, brought people here. I had a fight with him and barely injured him, Lin Fan said modestly. Li Zihan quickly told the details again. I didn't expect Liao Fihong to bring people here in person, Li Shangjin said. Yes, this is indeed unexpected, Li Xianyun continued to look at Lin Fan and said, however, thanks to Lin Xiaoyao's presence at the Li family, otherwise Liao Fihong would have definitely created a big event. Lin Fan, your strength is really too strong. As far as I know, Liao Fihong has been a level 3 evolver for a while. He is not an ordinary level 3 evolver. You have just been promoted to level 3 evolver and you can injure him, which is enough to show how strong you are, Li Shangjin sighed. Uncle Li, I was able to injure him mainly because my weapon is better than his. If I hadn't broken his weapon, I wouldn't have been able to injure him, Lin Fan said. Fighting is about the result, not the process and means, Li Shangjin smiled. Li Xianyun also nodded and said, yes, Lin Xiaoyao, that weapon can only exert such a strong power in your hands. It may not be able to exert it in the hands of others. Lin Fan could only bear the praise from Li Xianyun and Li Changjin helplessly. Of course, he knew that they were not flattering him, but were praising his strength from the bottom of their hearts. After a while, Li Xianyun said, Friend Lin, now we are 100% sure that we will fight against the Qinglong gang. I wonder if you have any good strategies to help us. Li Xianyun did not mention the reward at this time, but he had already made up his mind to give him a reward. It's just that he felt that Lin Fan was an upright person and there was no need to bring it up at this time. Master Li, this depends on the specific situation. After all, it is not clear how many people from the Qinglong gang will come to Zhonghe City at that time, Lin Fan pondered. Chapter 333 Return to the Mountains. The Qinglong gang's target is the entire Zhonghe. It is impossible to expand to only one place, but will expand comprehensively, so their manpower will also be divided. Of course, what can be confirmed is that their primary target must be the Li family. The next thing to do is to have someone keep an eye on the movements in Bei'an City at any time. You don't have to enter Bei'an City, just keep an eye on it outside Bei'an City. After all, if you enter, they will be easily discovered, Lin Fan analyzed. When they expand out, their movements will be relatively large. Our people are arranged outside, and they will definitely be able to see their general situation. It's not too late to make detailed arrangements after understanding their general situation. After all, it will take a lot of time for them to rush here. Hearing what Lin Fan said, Li Xianyun did not hesitate at all, and nodded and said, okay, I will arrange someone to keep an eye on Bei'an City. Master Li, don't be so anxious. It's not too late to arrange people to go there in a month and a half. It's boring to arrange people so early, and there is nothing else to do there. Lin Fan smiled faintly. Li Xianyun thought about it and felt that what Lin Fan said was true. After the Qinglong gang created the first level evolvers, it would take a while just to train these first level evolvers. How could they attack them so quickly? It was really boring and a waste to arrange people to keep an eye on them so early. By the way, Grandpa, Dad, if you come back, we will go out to train tomorrow, Li Zihan said. Let's go to the mountains and train for a while before coming back. Okay. Li Xianyun and Li Changjin looked at each other and had no different opinions. Now that Lin Fan has the strength of a third-level evolver, they have nothing to worry about if Li Zihan follows Lin Fan to train. To put it more bluntly, Li Zihan may be safer with Lin Fan than with him. After all, even someone like Liao Fihong was injured by Lin Fan, So how could Lin Fan's strength be underestimated? After continuing to discuss here for a while, Lin Fan and his friends took their leave. Looking at Lin Fan's back disappearing from his sight, Li Xianun couldn't help but sigh. This is the true pride of heaven. Sooner or later, the name Lin Fan will become a well-known existence in the entire Doomsday world. Yes. His growth potential is simply beyond words. Li Xiangjun nodded. Yes, Li Xianun also nodded and said, fortunately, we have a good relationship with him. It's best to be friends with such a person. He didn't know how strong Liao Fihong was, but if he was asked to deal with Liao Fihong, he didn't have much confidence that he could hurt Liao Fihong, but Lin Fan could do this. So now, he didn't have the confidence to defeat Lin Fan, and he was naturally full of admiration for Lin Fan's strength. The next morning, after eating, Lin Fan and the other four brought Andy to Li Xianun and Li Changjin. Master Li, Uncle Li, then we will go out for training. It will not take more than 50 days at most. We will definitely come back. Don't worry, and don't send anyone to find us, Lin Fan said. The mountain range is very vast. Arranging people to look for them may not necessarily find them, and it may also cause the people who go there to fall into danger. This is obviously unnecessary. Okay, be careful about everything, Li Xianun warned. Li Changjin also warned. Lin Fan and the other three did not delay. They took Andy to the RV, closed the door, started the car, stepped on the accelerator, and shot out, leaving the Li family and heading straight for the mountain range. Changjin, the things here in Zhonghe will be left to you. You let our people quickly take control of Zhonghe, and then I will go to the cities around Zhonghe to win over those families and forces. Li Xianun looked at Li Changjin and ordered. Dad, you are going in person. Li Changjin was slightly surprised. He thought that Li Xianun had arranged for someone with a high status in the Li family to go, but he didn't expect Li Xianun to go in person. Yes, I will go in person to show our sincerity and make them more willing to join our alliance, Li Xianun said. Then when will you leave? Li Changjin asked. There is no time to lose. I will leave now, Li Xianun replied. There are many family forces to contact around Zhonghe City. The sooner he leaves, the sooner he can finish this matter. Only when it is truly implemented can he feel relieved. Okay, Dad, you can go with peace of mind. I will take care of Zhonghe. Li Changjin nodded seriously. Yet, Li Xianun reached out and patted Li Changjin on the shoulder, then got into a car and drove away without wasting any more time. After Li Xianun left, Li Changjin also returned to his post and began to arrange various matters. At the Qinglonggang base, Tian Xiaobing had already injected the mutagenic factor into those he had selected, turning all of them into first-level evolvers. It must be said that the mutagenic factor is really a good thing. It can make ordinary people undergo transformation in such a short time. No wonder it has become the currency in circulation in the Doomsday. From now on, I will be responsible for training you every day. You are not allowed to stop until I tell you to. Do you understand? His eyes swept over the people in front of him, and Tian Xiaobing's majestic voice spread. Understood. Thousands of people responded in unison, and the sound felt like it was soaring into the sky. The hundreds of newly created people, plus the original ones, the number did reach thousands. Start training. Tian Xiaobing waved his hand and threw himself into the training process. As for Dongfangling, he was in seclusion. Because he wanted to see if his strength could make another breakthrough during this period of time. In this way, he would have the strength of a fourth-level evolver. Once he has the strength of a fourth-level evolver, he can sweep across the entire Zhonghe as he wants, and no one can stop him. The RV was speeding on the road. Lin Fan looked ahead and said, in half an hour, we should be there. Brother Lin Fan, the last time we came here, you seemed to have just become a level 2 evolver. This time, you are a level 3 evolver. Then we can go anywhere in this mountain range, Murin Shan chuckled and said, when we encounter level 3 zombies, we can get level 3 energy crystals by getting rid of them. Just thinking about it makes me feel that the harvest will be quite rich. There must be level 3 zombies deep in that mountain range, Li Zihan said firmly. You know, the last time she came here with Zhuang Lishan and others, she came here to get rid of level 3 zombies and get level 3 energy crystals. Chapter 334 Try your hand. Lin Fan did not deny this. He did not believe that there were no level 3 zombies in such a large mountain range. Just like last time, when they drove the car to the foot of the mountain range, they stopped the car and found a hidden place to park the car. Under normal circumstances, it would not be discovered by others. We have practiced in that forest before. This time, we don't need to waste time in the forest. We can go directly to the depths of the mountains. Lin Fan made arrangements. In addition to collecting mutagenic factors, his goal is to collect level 3 energy crystals. Although the benefits of level 3 energy crystals to him at his current stage will not be too great, you have to know that Murinzu and Murinshan both need level 3 energy crystals. The potential of these two sisters is also very strong. If they can become level 3 evolvers earlier, it is obviously the best result. With this idea in mind, there is nothing wrong with going directly to the depths of the mountains to practice. Because, there is a high probability that level 3 zombies will stay in the depths of the mountains. Brother Lin Fan, what should we bring? Murinshan asked. Let's take our weapons, and then a few guns and some bullets. As he said that, Lin Fan thought of something again, glanced at one of the backpacks, and reminded, oh, by the way, the syringe in that backpack must be taken, otherwise we won't have a mutagenic factor in advance. It is convenient to use a syringe to extract a mutagenic factor. If the mutagenic factor is not brought, it will be impossible to extract a mutagenic factor from the animal. Okay, Murinshan nodded obediently, and then prepared according to what Lin Fan said. 5 minutes later, everything was sorted out. Let's go, get off the car, and start our experience this time. Lin Fan smiled and got out of the RV first. Murinzu, Murinshan, Li Zihan and Andy followed closely behind. After they all got out of the car, Lin Fan closed the door tightly. The 4 people and the dog did not delay any more and walked into the forest. There was not much worth exploring in this forest. They were equivalent to going straight through the forest and heading straight to the vast mountains behind the forest. However, the forest was not small, and it would take a day to travel through it. At night, they still followed the previous rest method and slept on the tree. Andy is now at the 2nd level, and her jumping ability is quite amazing. She doesn't need help to climb up and down the tree, and she is much more flexible than Murinshan. After eating a little food on the tree, when Lin Fan was about to invite them to rest, a roar of zombies suddenly came from the left direction. Looking over, they saw a group of about 200 zombies walking towards them. Lin Fan used the ring to read the data of this group of zombies. It was nothing. There were only 5 level 1 zombies in total, and the rest were all ordinary zombies. Don't pay attention to them. They are probably just passing by here. We just don't make any noise, Lin Fan whispered. Brother Lin Fan, I have been practicing with my sister to improve my practical experience these 2 days, but I haven't fought with zombies yet. Just in time, a group of zombies came here, and I want to try my hand. Murinshan glanced at the group of zombies with her beautiful eyes, then looked at Lin Fan and said with a smile. Try it, Lin Fan murmured. Then nodded and said, okay, there are no level 2 zombies among this group of zombies, you can try it. If there were level 2 zombies, Lin Fan would naturally not let Murinshan try, but he had already read the data of this group of zombies with a ring, and there were no level 2 zombies. With Murinshan's strength, it shouldn't be a big problem to deal with them. What's more, they are watching from above, and even if there is a problem, they can quickly help. After getting Lin Fan's permission, Murinshan nodded, took the long sword forged by Old Wang, turned over and jumped off the branch, holding the sword and rushed towards the group of zombies. Roar. Hearing the movement, the zombies let out a piercing roar and swarmed towards Murinshan. Murinshan was not afraid, slashing with his sword. Every move was very precise, and every time the sword was chopped, a zombie's head fell to the ground. Now her strength is only 1 step away from the level 2 evolver, and compared to these zombies, she is naturally more powerful. These zombies really couldn't pose much of a threat in front of her. After a while, she killed 50 or 60 ordinary zombies. Then, the first level zombies also rushed to her. Facing the siege of several first level zombies, she didn't panic at all. She drew her sword with a serious face, dodging the attacks of the first level zombies and constantly launching counterattacks. Lin Fan and the other 2 sat on the tree, their eyes fixed on Murinshan. Li Zihan smiled lightly and said, Xiao Shan's practical experience has really improved a lot in the past 2 days. From Murinshan's dodging and counterattacks, she could clearly judge that this was the result of Murinshan's great progress. Yes, Lin Fan nodded. He could naturally see Murinshan's progress at a glance. Click, click. In the blink of an eye, under Murinshan's counterattack, The heads of two first-level zombies had fallen to the ground. Lin Fan did not stop or relax. She continued to swing her sword to attack and quickly dealt with the remaining first-level zombies. She had killed several level 1 zombies, and the remaining ordinary zombies were no match for her. She fought more and more bravely, like a wolf entering a flock of sheep. She swung her sword and the zombies' heads fell to the ground. In less than 10 minutes, she had killed all the zombies. After taking a look at the zombie corpses lying on the ground, Lin Fan chuckled, retracted her gaze, and returned to the tree, and soon returned to her previous position. "It's so easy." Putting the sword aside, Lin Fan said with a smile. "When you break through to the level 2 evolver, it will be easier to deal with these zombies," Lin Fan said. "I feel it's almost time." Lin Fan nodded and said, "I estimate that in a few days, my strength will be able to break through to the level 2 evolver." She did feel this way, and she felt it very accurately. "Almost." Lin Fan smiled faintly and said, "You have been hearing for a while in the first level evolver stage. It's time to make a breakthrough. Okay, let's rest here tonight and continue to enter the mountains tomorrow morning." "Yes." Lin Fan and Li Zihan nodded at the same time. With Andy here, they don't have to worry too much. After all, Andy's hearing is not exaggerated. Andy can hear any movement around him clearly. So tonight, Lin Fan doesn't have to rest like last time. He can sleep peacefully and leave it to Andy to take care of it. Chapter 335 Andy vs. Tiger. This night was spent peacefully, and nothing dangerous happened later. The next morning, after Lin Fan and his companions had eaten, they continued to rush towards the mountains without delay. After they entered the mountains, they walked forward for a distance. Roar. A somewhat shocking roar came out. This was not the roar of a zombie, but the sound of an animal. "Brother Lin Fan, it seems to be the sound of a tiger, right?" Lin Fan asked with her head tilted. "Yes, it should be," Lin Fan nodded. Judging from the sound, if he was not wrong, it was indeed the sound of a tiger. Moreover, the place where the sound came from seemed not far away from them. "Let's go and take a look." Lin Fan stretched out his hand and pointed to the left, where the sound came from. The 4 people and the dog did not delay. Under the leadership of Lin Fan, they quickly ran to the left. After running for a distance, they gradually slowed down. In front of them was an area with rocks and trees. On one of the rocks, as expected, a tiger was seen. The tiger looked very majestic. According to its weight, it weighed at least 400 or 500 kilograms. "It's actually level 2, Lin Fan noticed the color of the tiger's eyes and couldn't help but smile. He didn't expect that they were lucky enough to encounter a level 2 tiger not long after entering the mountain range. This means that they can extract a level 2 mutagenic factor from this level 2 tiger. "I'll deal with it," Murengzu said. Lin Fan used the ring to read the tiger's data. Species, tiger level 2 strength, 10 speed, 10 reaction, 10 power, none. Judging from the data, this tiger is not ordinary. Although Murengzu's strength is also very good, and she also has the long sword forged by Old Wang, there is still a lot of risk to deal with this tiger. Lin Fan does not intend to let her take action. "Woof." At this time, Andy called softly and scratched Lin Fan with her claws. Lin Fan looked down at Andy and saw that Andy's eyes were fixed on the tiger, and his eyes were full of fighting spirit. "You want to deal with it?" Lin Fan asked. Andy quickly tapped its dog head, and the meaning was very clear. Lin Fan looked up at Murengzu and said with a smile, "Why don't we give Andy a chance to show off? We haven't seen it show off since it came with us." Lin Fan was telling the truth. After Andy followed them, he hadn't seen Andy take action. "Okay," Murengzu nodded, and had no objection to this. "Andy, go ahead, we'll see your performance." Lin Fan smiled faintly and reached out to touch Andy's head. Andy didn't delay any longer, and rushed out quickly with 4 legs. Andy was a mutated evolved dog, and his data was no worse than that of the tiger. Lin Fan was not worried that Andy couldn't handle it. "Woof." Andy ran very fast and rushed into the tiger's side in a blink of an eye. Roar. Seeing this, the tiger stood up from the stone, looked down at Andy, opened its tiger's mouth, and let out a piercing roar. The penetrating power of this sound is very strong. If it were an ordinary animal, hearing such a sound, I'm afraid it would have been trembling with fear, and there would be no courage to rush up and cause trouble. However, Andy is no longer an ordinary animal. Even though they are much bigger than the tiger, they do not compete with each other by size, but by real strength. Andy leaped up and flew directly to the tiger. Facing Andy's attack, the tiger seemed a little careless. In its opinion, Andy was definitely not its opponent. So, it lazily raised its claws and tried to resist Andy's attack, and at the same time, it wanted to press Andy to the ground. Unfortunately, it misjudged Andy. Andy flew in front of it, stepped on its claws, and with the help of this force, continued to bounce up, and then appeared on the tiger's back. AWW. With his mouth open, Andy bit the tiger's back without hesitation. The bite force of this bite was not low at all, and it instantly bit the tiger's fur, and blood flowed out of the wound. The tiger felt the pain on its back, and it also screamed and rolled to the ground. At this point, its IQ was already quite high. It knew that in order to get rid of Andy, it had to make Andy stand up, otherwise Andy would continue to stay on its back and attack. The huge body fell to the ground, and Andy had no way to stay and jumped down instantly. The tiger stood up again, and looked at Andy with angry murderous intent in its tiger eyes. It didn't expect Andy's strength to be exactly the same, and it was injured in the first encounter. However, this also completely aroused its anger. It opened its mouth and roared angrily, and pounced on Andy fiercely. At this moment, in its eyes, Andy had already regarded Andy as its lunch. Facing the tiger's pounce, Andy kicked his forelegs and rushed forward quickly. At an extremely fast speed, he successfully dodged the tiger's huge body, leaving the tiger empty. After dodging, Andy was not idle either, and immediately launched a counterattack against the tiger. A dog and a tiger, they immediately fought fiercely together. Lin Fan stared at the battle situation for a while, and said with confidence, Andy's fighting power is really not to be underestimated. That tiger is definitely not its opponent. Well, although the tiger has reached the second level, it is naturally not as powerful as Andy. After all, Andy has also mutated. Compared with the same level, his speed and reaction are stronger, Lin Fan said with a smile. Otherwise, Andy would not be able to avoid the tiger's attack so easily. Yes, you can see that in the battle between them, Andy's attacks can fall on the tiger from time to time, but the tiger's attacks are all avoided by Andy. This is enough to show that Andy, after the mutation, is indeed stronger in speed and reaction than the same level. Lin Fan nodded and said, Andy and the tiger have the same data, but the strength they show is different. It's like the same truth for him. He has just become a third-level evolver, but he can tie with Liao Fihong, a third-level evolver of this level, with bare hands, and after using weapons, he can successfully injure Liao Fihong. This is some potential gap. Andy is now using this gap to suppress the tiger and gain the upper hand. The fight continues. 10 minutes later, Andy pounces, and before the tiger can react, he appears on the tiger's back and bites the tiger's neck. Chapter 336 Urgent Matter. Bang! The exhausted tiger could no longer hold on and slowly fell to the ground. Of course, Andy did not bite the tiger to death directly. It knew that Lin Fan wanted to extract a mutagenic factor. If the tiger died, the extracted mutagenic factor would be meaningless. The tiger lying on the ground was panting heavily. There were many scars on its body, and many parts were stained red with blood. Andy stood beside the tiger, looked down at the tiger, and confirmed that the tiger had no strength to fight again. Then he looked at Lin Fan and barked at Lin Fan twice. Well done, Lin Fan praised, and then walked towards Andy. Lin Fan and Lin Fan hurriedly followed. Lin Fan took out a syringe from his backpack and started to extract a mutagenic factor from the tiger without wasting time. The process of extracting the mutagenic factor was very simple and it was quickly completed. Lin Fan's eyes flashed and said, the second-level mutagenic factor can create several first-level evolvers. This was his speculation, but he felt that this speculation should be correct. Brother Lin Fan, we used so many mutagenic factors at the trade fair before. This time, we have to get back the mutagenic factors we used no matter what, Lin Fan said. That's for sure, Lin Fan nodded. This mountain range is so vast, and there is no telling how many evolved animals there are. It shouldn't be a difficult problem for them to collect the mutagenic factors used at the trade fair before. Lin Fan, what about this tiger? Lin Fan asked after looking at the lying tiger. Lin Fan understood her meaning very well. She was asking whether to kill the tiger. Let it be like this. It is an evolved animal and should recover quickly. If it is lucky, it can continue to live. If it is unlucky, it will be surrounded by zombies later. It can only blame its bad luck, Lin Fan said. Yet, Lin Fan nodded slightly. Okay, Let's go. We have such a harvest as soon as we enter the mountains. I guess the harvest later will be quite considerable." Lin Fan smiled faintly. The four people and the dog did not stop and continue to walk into the mountains. Time passed quickly. In a blink of an eye, a month had passed. During this month, all the family forces in Zhonghe were not idle. Especially on the Qinglong Gang side, Tianzia Ebing can be said to have been training those first-level evolvers day and night to enrich the practical experience. Dongfangling is still in seclusion, and has been sprinting towards the fourth-level evolver. However, it is not so easy to break through to the fourth-level evolver, and a certain opportunity is needed. If the opportunity does not come, then he will not be able to make a breakthrough no matter how long he is in seclusion. On this day, Liao Fihong drove to the base headquarters. After parking the car, he rushed to the training ground. On the training ground, he saw Tian Xiaobing leading the training. Tian Xiaobing glanced and saw Liao Fihong coming, and said loudly, "You continue to practice, I will delay first." "Yes," many first-level evolvers answered in unison. Hearing this, Tian Xiaobing did not delay, and turned to Liao Fihong. "Is the training good?" Liao Fihong asked when he saw Tian Xiaobing approaching. "Fortunately, there are basically no problems. They are making rapid progress. At this rate, I estimate that we can take action in a month at most," Tian Xiaobing said with a smile. "We have to take action," Liao Fihong pondered. "What's wrong?" Tian Xiaobing asked curiously. "I was just about to ask you why you suddenly came here today. I just got the news that the Li family and the Fang family created an alliance, and then recruited many family forces to join their alliance, just to fight against our Qinglong gang," Liao Fihong said in a serious tone. "What?" Hearing this, Tian Xiaobing was shocked. He had been staying in the base every day to train these people for the past month, and had never paid attention to what was happening outside. Dongfangling was in seclusion again, and he didn't pay attention to what was happening outside, so naturally they were not as well informed as Liao Fihong. The Li family and the Fang family have formed an alliance. Tian Xiaobing's expression changed, and he asked, "When did it happen?" "I don't know exactly when it was formed, but what I can be sure of now is that this alliance has been formed, and during this period, Li Xianun and Fang Yongtan have been contacting those family forces to join their alliance, so that they can join forces to fight against us." Liao Fihong took a deep breath and said, "As soon as I got the news, I immediately rushed over from Dongguan City." At this point, Liao Fihong paused slightly, and then asked, "Where's the gang leader? Is he in the base?" "Yes, but he seems to be in seclusion." Tian Xiaobing nodded. "In seclusion?" Liao Fihong frowned slightly and said, "This matter is of great importance. Even if the gang leader is in seclusion, we have to notify him." "Yes, such a major matter must be notified to the gang leader. Let's go and find the gang leader now." Tian Xiaobing nodded without hesitation. This kind of thing is beyond their scope of decision. They must report it to Dongfangling and let Dongfangling make the decision. Yet, Liao Fihong and Tian Xiaobing didn't waste any time. They left the training ground and headed straight for the villa where Dongfangling lived. Soon, they arrived at the villa where Dongfangling lived. Dongfangling was in seclusion in the room. Tian Xiaobing glanced at the door and said, "I'll go knock on the door." As he said that, he walked outside the door and knocked on the door. About half a minute later, Dongfangling's voice came from the room and asked, "Who is it, boss?" "It's me. I have something urgent to report to you," Tian Xiaobing said. Dongfangling could naturally recognize that it was Tian Xiaobing's voice. Tian Xiaobing knew that he had been in seclusion for a while. If there was nothing important, he would never disturb him. But Tian Xiaobing came to disturb him now, which meant that there was indeed something very urgent. Right away, Dongfangling didn't waste any time and immediately stood up and walked towards the door. Then he stretched out his hand to open the door, glanced at Tian Xiaobing, and noticed that Liao Fihong was here. "Fihong is here too, boss," Liao Fihong greeted him, and then said, "This matter is indeed very urgent, otherwise we wouldn't have come to disturb you." "It's okay." Dongfangling shook his head, then walked over to the sofa, sat on the sofa, and said, "What exactly is it? Tell me." Tian Xiaobing and Liao Fihong also sat down. Tian Xiaobing glanced at Liao Fihong and said, "Fihong, you tell me." Chapter 337. 1 month later. Liao Fihong was the first to know about this matter, so there was no problem for Liao Fihong to say it. Liao Fihong nodded, looked at Dongfangling, and said, Boss, I got the news that the Li family and the Fan family have created an alliance and are inviting other families and forces to join them, so as to use this alliance to fight against us. Oh, hearing this, Dongfang Ling's eyes showed a hint of surprise, and said, I didn't expect the Li family and the Fan family would do such a trick. Yes, they created an alliance and secretly contacted other families and forces. This behavior is really hateful, Liao Fihong said angrily. If I had known that the Fang family would do that, I shouldn't have let the Fang family go back when they came here to participate in the trade fair. At that time, I really didn't expect the Fang family to be so bold. If they wanted to, how could Fang Zhou and others leave? Tian Xiaobing said helplessly. These are all in the past and are not important. Now for us, we need to understand clearly which family forces have joined their alliance and which family forces have not joined. This is what we have to do now. Dongfang Ling made a decision quickly. Boss, then what about their alliance? Liao Fihong asked. Don't worry about it for now. After all, the fact of the alliance has been formed. If we worry about it now, it will undoubtedly be a waste of time and energy. We should investigate the families and forces that have joined and train those evolvers as soon as possible. This is more important than anything else, Dongfang Ling said in a deep voice. Boss, that's right, Liao Fihong nodded quickly, not daring to object to Dongfang Ling's decision. Dongfang Ling looked at Tian Xiaobing and asked, how is the training of that batch of evolvers going? Boss, the training progress is very good, there is no problem. At most, in another month, this batch of evolvers will have rich combat experience, Tian Xiaobing replied. Well, not only let them train in the base, but also take them out to deal with zombies, so that they can improve in real life and death battles, Dongfang Ling ordered. Yes, in 10 days, I will take them out to fight zombies, Tian Xiaobing said. Okay, then you should quickly arrange people to understand what I just said. If there is any news, report to me as soon as possible, Dongfang Ling pondered. Yes, Tian Xiaobing and Liao Fihong looked at each other, nodded in response, and then without wasting any more time, they stood up and left, each busy with what they should do. After the two of them left, Dongfang Ling did not hesitate, returned to his own room, and continued to retreat. He had so many people to help him with things, he only needed to make the right arrangements, and he didn't need to do everything himself. In the study, Li Xianyun and Fang Yongtan were sitting here. This was their second meeting in a month. Xianyun, how is the communication going on your side? Fang Yongtan asked. After he finished the communication work on his side, he came to the Li family to find Li Xianyun. Li Xianyun's eyes flashed with a smile, and he said, it went very smoothly. All the family forces I mentioned before have joined our alliance, and some of them who remained neutral have even come to me to join our alliance. My situation is the same as yours. All those who were supposed to join have joined, and some who remained neutral have also joined. Fang Yongtan said, although there are not many, it is a force after all, our alliance will undoubtedly become stronger and stronger. When the time comes, there will be no problem in fighting against the Qinglong gang, Li Xianyun said affirmatively. Yes, Fang Yongtan nodded, then thought of something and asked, by the way, is Lin Fan here? I wanted to meet him last time, but unfortunately I didn't have the chance. Unfortunately, they went out to gain experience, Li Xianyun said. Going out to gain experience? Fang Yongtan was stunned. Yes, they went to the mountains for training, Li Xianyun said in a deep voice. Lin Fan has asked me to arrange people to keep an eye on the situation in Bei'an City. He said that for such a battle, specific arrangements can only be made according to the specific situation. Then, Li Xianyun repeated what Lin Fan said. After listening, Fang Yongtan nodded repeatedly and said, Lin Fan is right. The Qinglong gang cannot expand only to a certain city, but must act against the entire Songhai. We must observe their every move there before making specific arrangements. Just listening to Li Xianyun's thoughts on Lin Fan, Fang Yongtan felt a sense of admiration for Lin Fan in his heart, which made him more curious about what kind of person Lin Fan was. The two continued to chat for a while, and Li Xianyun said, when they come back from their training, they will definitely be able to come up with a specific plan. When I confirm it, I will immediately arrange someone to notify you. Okay, no problem, then I will go back first. There are still many things waiting for me to arrange at home, Fang Yongtan said. You have something to do, so I won't keep you here. Let's have a couple of drinks next time, Li Xianyun said. Sure, Fang Yong nodded, and then left the Li family without delay and returned to the Fan family. In the mountains, 4 people and a dog were sitting under a big tree to take a rest in the shade. Brother Lin Fan, we should have gained a lot in this month, right? Murien Shan took a sip of water, put down the water bottle, and looked at Lin Fan with her beautiful eyes and asked. Yes, it's very rich. In 1 month, we have collected 60 tubes of level 1 mutagenic factors and 5 tubes of level 2 mutagenic factors, Lin Fan said with a smile. It's a pity that we still haven't encountered level 3 zombies, Murien Shan pouted. How can it be so easy to encounter level 3 zombies? Lin Fan smiled faintly, looked into the depths of the mountains, and said, besides, our current location is not deep in the mountains. If we continue to go deeper into the mountains, we should be able to encounter them. In this month, Murien Shan and Li Zihan have made great progress in their strength. Especially Murien Shan, who also successfully became a level 2 evolver. After she became a level 2 evolver, although her superpowers did not continue to advance, her sharpshooter level would also be improved accordingly due to the enhancement of her own reaction data. To a certain extent, the increase of one's own strength would also have a certain beneficial effect on superpowers. For example, Lin Fan's superpowers, with the increase of his reaction data, even if the range of control did not change, he would become more and more handy in control. Okay, it's almost time to rest, let's continue to go deeper into the mountains, Lin Fan stood up and said. Yes, Murien Shan and Li Zihan nodded. 4 people and 1 dog set off again. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 338 Level 3 Zombies. In a blink of an eye, another 10 days passed. Lin Fan and his companions finally arrived at the depths of the mountains. Of course, this was because they were walking slowly during their journey. If they did not delay at all and went straight to the depths of the mountains, it would not take that long. Roar. As soon as they entered the depths of the mountains, they heard the ugly roar of zombies. Lin Fan and his companions looked in the direction of the sound and saw a large group of zombies gathering not far ahead. Moreover, this group of zombies included not only human zombies but also animal zombies. Lin Fan did not hesitate and immediately used the ring to read the data of this group of zombies. Soon, his eyes were locked on one of the zombies. Species, zombie level 3 strength, 12 speed, 12 reaction, 12 ability, none. Level 3 zombie. Lin Fan's eyes flashed. This was the first time he encountered a level 3 zombie. Lin Fan, there is a level 3 zombie over there. Li Zihan's beautiful eyes swept through the group of zombies and also locked on the level 3 zombie. Level 3 zombie. Upon hearing this, Murien and Murien Shan hurriedly looked in the direction that Li Zihan was looking at, and also saw the level 3 zombie. Brother Lin Fan, this is great, we finally encountered a level 3 zombie, Murien Shan said excitedly. Now we can get the level 3 energy crystal. Zihan, does the body of a level 3 zombie necessarily contain level 3 energy crystals? Is there a situation where there is no level 3 energy crystal? Murien turned her eyes to Li Zihan and asked. Yes, there must be level 3 energy crystals. There is no way there is no level 3 energy crystal, Li Zihan explained. My grandfather said that the moment a level 2 zombie evolves into a level 3 zombie, energy crystals will be born in their heads. If no energy crystals are born, it means that the evolution has not been successful. Therefore, every level 3 zombie has a level 3 energy crystal in its body, then you can get it as long as you kill it, Murien murmured. Leave the rest of the zombies to you, I will deal with the level 3 zombie, Lin Fan smiled faintly. The number of zombies in that group was quite large, with a total of no less than 1,000. Although he could handle it alone, there was no need to do it alone. He had to give Murien Shan and Li Zihan some opportunities to fight. After all, in addition to the 3rd level zombies, there were also 2nd level zombies in the group, which was just right for Murien Shan and Li Zihan to gain practical experience. Okay, Murien and the other 2 naturally had no objection to Lin Fan's arrangement, and nodded at the same time. Let's do it. Lin Fan raised his mouth, without any hesitation, stretched out his hand and waved, and rushed out first with a long halberd. Seeing this, Murien Shan and Li Zihan did not waste time, holding their swords tightly in their jade hands, and rushed out closely behind Lin Fan. Of course, Andy followed them, and Andy was a very good helper. No matter whether he was dealing with human zombies or animal zombies, he didn't have to worry. Roar! Roar! When the zombies heard the noise coming from this side, they immediately focused their attention, opened their mouths and let out unpleasant roars, and swarmed towards Lin Fan and his companions. Don't be careless, be careful, Lin Fan warned. Yes, Murengzu and the other two nodded. Andy also barked in response. Lin Fan held the halberd tightly and swung it out, chopping off the head of the zombie in front of him, and then went straight to the level 3 zombie in the middle. His target was only the level 3 zombie, and the rest had nothing to do with him. He believed that Murengzu and the other two and Andy could handle it. When Lin Fan rushed towards the level 3 zombie, Murengzu and the other two and Andy began to fight with the rest of the zombies. Although the combat effectiveness of the rest of these zombies was not bad, Murengzu and the other two and Andy were still stronger in comparison. Therefore, Lin Fan would not worry too much about their safety. In a blink of an eye, Lin Fan used the halberd to kill a bloody path and came in front of the level 3 zombie. Roar! The third level zombie roared again, and then attacked Lin Fan. It waved its hands and pounced on Lin Fan. Lin Fan stepped back to avoid its attack, and then kicked it on the body. It didn't feel any pain, but the power of Lin Fan's kick was not bad. After the kick, its body still retreated in the direction of the force. At the moment it retreated, Lin Fan held the halberd in his hand and chopped it down fiercely. The third level zombie's reaction and speed were not bad. Seeing the halberd in Lin Fan's hand chopped towards its head, it moved to the side, trying to dodge Lin Fan's halberd attack again. However, Lin Fan had already noticed its action. At the moment it dodged, he also held the halberd in his hand to change the trajectory of the attack and chop directly in the direction it dodged. Bang! The halberd chopped hard on the arm of the third level zombie, and a collision sound could be clearly heard, which showed that the body of this third level zombie was also very strong. But no matter how strong it was impossible to completely resist the halberd made by Old Wen. The halberd blade of the halberd undoubtedly chopped into the arm of the third level zombie. The third level zombie felt no pain. After its arm was chopped, it did not delay and attacked Lin Fan with its other arm. Seeing this, Lin Fan bent down and successfully avoided the attack of the third level zombie's arm. Bang! Then, the moment he raised his head, he raised his foot and kicked hard, hitting the third level zombie's abdomen with a bang. The power of Lin Fan's kick was so heavy that the third level zombie could not bear it. Its whole body flew backwards. The halberd that was originally embedded in its arm also broke away at this time, but was still tightly held in Lin Fan's hand. The third level zombie flew backwards, knocking down many zombies along the way, and flew about 20 meters before falling back to the ground. Lin Fan's eyes flashed, and he continued to lock onto the body of the level 3 zombie. He rushed over quickly with a halberd in his hand. When he was 5 meters away from the level 3 zombie, he bent his feet, then jumped up, holding the halberd tightly with both hands, and chopped down at the head of the level 3 zombie. The level 3 zombie obviously did not expect Lin Fan to be so fast. Sensing the danger, it blocked its head with its arms. Bang! The halberd chopped down with great force. The arms of the level 3 zombie that were blocking its head were cut off in the middle under such a powerful attack. It was unable to resist the attack of the halberd at all. Without the two arms blocking it, the head of the level 3 zombie was naturally exposed to the attack of the halberd. Crack! The halberd cut through the air and hit the head of the level 3 zombie heavily. With a crack, the head of the level 3 zombie was broken under the attack of the halberd blade. Chapter 339 6 Attributes. Until the moment when the head of the level 3 zombie was split open, it had never thought that the opponent it encountered would be so strong. Isn't this too fast? Murenshan glanced at Lin Fan and saw Lin Fan killing the level 3 zombie. A look of surprise immediately appeared on her pretty face. Hearing Murenshan's voice, Murengzu and Li Zihan also looked over at Lin Fan and saw that the head of the level 3 zombie was indeed split open by Lin Fan. The three of them didn't expect that Lin Fan would be so fast in dealing with the level 3 zombies. Lin Fan even dealt with the level 3 zombies. We have to work harder, Murengzu said with a smile. Yet, Li Zihan nodded slightly. The three of them and the dog continued to attack the rest of the zombies. Lin Fan held the halberd in his hand and swung it around his body. More than a dozen zombies' heads were cut off one after another. Then, he quickly went to the body of the level 3 zombie, squatted down, stared at the head that was split open by the halberd, and could clearly see that there was a level 3 energy crystal inside. Just as Li Zihan said, any level 3 zombie must contain a level 3 energy crystal. A smile flashed in Lin Fan's eyes. Without any delay, he reached out and took the level 3 energy crystal out of the zombie's head, then wiped it on the ground twice to wipe off the blood on the level 3 energy crystal. He took a casual look at it and then put the level 3 energy crystal back into his pocket. Roar. When he put away the level 3 energy crystal, the zombies around him rushed towards him again. He held a long spear in his hand and joined the battle against the rest of the zombies. With Lin Fan's participation, it was a nightmare for the rest of the zombies. After a while, all the zombies were lying on the ground, and the whole area was filled with the smell of rotten blood. Let's go over there and find a place with fresher air first. Lin Fan glanced at Murengzu and the other two and said with a faint smile. Okay, the three naturally had no objection. The four of them took Andy and walked to the left. After walking a few hundred meters, they stopped when they could no longer smell the smell of rotten blood in the air. Sit down and take a rest, Lin Fan said with a faint smile, and sat down on the grass first. Murengzu and the other two looked at each other and sat down as well. They didn't mention the third level energy crystal. Lin Fan didn't mention it at this time either. After all, there was only one third level energy crystal, which was not enough for Murengzu, Murengshan and Li Zihan to share. So, he decided to distribute it when there were 3 third level energy crystals. In this way, Murengzu, Murengshan and Li Zihan could each be allocated one. As for himself, if there were extra, he would use them, and if there were not extra, he would not use them. After all, the third level energy crystals were more beneficial to the second level evolvers. He was already a third level evolver, and the effect of continuing to absorb them might not be much better. Brother Lin Fan, when are we going to return? Murengshan glanced in the direction of the Li family, then looked back at Lin Fan and asked. Hearing Murengshan's question, Murengzu and Li Zihan also looked at Lin Fan, and it was obvious that they were also full of curiosity about this question. In any case, 40 days have passed since the day they came out. Lin Fan did not answer Murengshan's question immediately, but pondered for a while. After about half a minute, he said, "We are now deep in the mountains. If we ignore everything else and rush out, it will take about 5 days to get back to the RV, and it will take about a day to drive the RV back to the Li family. It will be 6 days in total, so, we still have 4 days to stay here before we can set off and return." Although he guessed that it would take 2 months for the Qinglong gang to take action, it was not 100% certain that such a thing would take that long. They would go back early to prevent it from happening. Murengzu and the other two nodded in agreement with Lin Fan's time arrangement. After sitting and resting for a while, the 4 people and the dog left here and continued to train. As expected, there was more than one level 3 zombie in the depths of the mountains. On the second day, they encountered another one and were killed by Lin Fan. On the third day, they encountered another one and were also killed by Lin Fan. Only Lin Fan in the team had reached the level of a third level evolver. Even if Murengzu and the other two wanted to deal with the third level zombies, they could only deal with them. Only Lin Fan could deal with them. On the 4th day, they came to a canyon deep in the mountains. When standing outside this canyon, you can hear the sounds of many animals. When you come in and take a look, it is even more extraordinary. They didn't expect so many animals to live in the canyon. And all these animals are alive and have not been infected. Lin Fan took a closer look and didn't expect that there were several second-level animals here. Just take down those second-level ones, and don't hurt the rest. Let them continue to survive in this canyon. Maybe they will evolve in the future, Lin Fan said. Okay, Murengzu and the other two nodded. There are a total of 5 second-level animals. Lin Fan, the other 4, and Andy just happened to deal with 1 each. Do it. The 4 people and the dog didn't waste any time and immediately took action, rushing towards the 5 second-level animals. After a fight, the result was beyond doubt. All 5 second-level animals were knocked to the ground by them. Lin Fan took a quick look, took out a syringe from his backpack, and collected the mutagenic factors as quickly as possible. Okay, let's go, Lin Fan said. After that, just as they were about to leave the canyon, Lin Fan's eyes happened to catch a glimpse of a place in the deepest part of the canyon. There was a row of dense trees growing there, and under the trees, there was a group of deer. There was nothing special about this group of deer, But what Lin Fan didn't expect was that he actually saw attributes that could be picked up on 6 of them. The 6 deer carried the attributes of Strength 2, Speed 2, and Reaction 2. Isn't this too much? Lin Fan couldn't help but show a look of surprise on his face. It's not like he had never picked up attributes before, but like this, encountering 6 attributes that could be picked up at once really made him a little unbelievable. Brother Lin Fan, what are you looking at? Murin Shan asked curiously. No, Lin Fan smiled and shook his head, then said, you guys go out and wait for me, I'm going to go to the bathroom. He wanted to pick up the attributes of the 6 deer, so he naturally had to find a more suitable reason. This reason could not be more suitable. Hearing what Lin Fan said, Muringzu and the other 2 would not stay any longer, and hurriedly walked out of the canyon. Chapter 340, Each has improved. After Muringzu and the other 2 and Andy walked out of the canyon, Lin Fan started to move and quickly ran towards the row of trees. The group of deer were naturally frightened when they saw Lin Fan running towards them, and they wanted to flee one by one. Lin Fan would not pay attention to the other fleeing deer. His eyes were always fixed on the 6 deer with the pickup attribute. When they appeared within 10 meters of them, Lin Fan would not arrest them one by one. Instead, he moved his mind and controlled the 6 stones on the ground. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. The 6 stones flew up from the ground and attacked the 6 deer directly under Lin Fan's control. 6 subtle sounds of breaking through the air resounded. The speed of the stones was very fast. In the blink of an eye, they arrived in front of the 6 deer and completely killed them on the ground. The 6 stones were all hit into their bodies, and each one hit a vital part. Lin Fan has mastered his ability very well. It is normal for him to kill 6 deer with one blow by controlling the stone. If he cannot kill them with one blow, it means that he is not proficient in using it. After killing the 6 deer, Lin Fan did not waste time and used the ring to pick up the attributes of each of them. Soon, all 6 attributes were picked up by him. Check, Lin Fan said silently in his heart, and a light screen of information appeared in front of him. Species, human level, level 3 strength, 14 speed, 14 reaction, 14 defense, 10 ability. The data of strength, speed and reaction were 12 before. Now 2 points were picked up from each of the 6 deer, so it naturally became 14. The data of Dongfang Ling is 15. He must have a very good weapon in his hand. Even if the long halberd made by Old Wing is equal to his weapon, I still have more superpowers than him. Lin Fan's eyes condensed, and he thought secretly in his heart, if I make good use of my superpowers, I should have no problem dealing with him. After returning, I have to find a better hidden weapon. The further the data goes, even if the difference is only 1 point, the difference in strength will be quite large. And Dongfang Ling is the leader of the Qinglong gang. Lin Fan himself does not believe that Dongfang Ling does not have a good weapon. Therefore, Lin Fan does not need to consider the problem of crushing in the weapon. Then, if you want to deal with someone of Dongfang Ling's strength, you must rely on superpowers. To make good use of superpowers, you need a powerful hidden weapon. This problem is the problem that Lin Fan will solve next. However, he should return to the Li family first before considering the hidden weapon. Looking down at the deer corpse on the ground, he did not waste any more time and ran out of the canyon. At the mouth of the canyon, Muringzu, Muringshan and Li Zihan were all standing here waiting, and Andy was standing beside them. Let's go back. Lin Fan glanced at them and Andy and said with a faint smile. On the way back, they didn't waste any more time and rushed out of the mountains at the fastest speed. Just as Lin Fan had speculated before, it took them exactly 5 days to walk out of the mountains, through the forest, and back to the RV. Back in the RV, Lin Fan took out 3 level 3 energy crystals and said, "Here, one for each of you, thank you, brother Lin Fan." Muringshan chuckled and reached out to take a level 3 energy crystal from Lin Fan. She would not be polite with Lin Fan. Muringzu and Li Zihan looked at each other and also walked forward to take the level 3 energy crystal. Level 3 energy crystals were very valuable to them. They could improve their strength. They were about to face the oppression from the Qinglong gang, so they naturally had no need to refuse. "Okay, I'll drive back, and you guys find time to absorb the energy crystals," Lin Fan said. "Yes." Muringzu, Muringshan and Li Zihan nodded at the same time. Lin Fan smiled faintly, returned to the driver's seat, started the car, and headed back to the Li family. Muringzu, Murenshan and Li Zihan absorbed the third-level energy crystals one after another. Murenzu and Murenshan knew the method of absorption, so there was no need for Li Zihan to repeat it. Soon, the energy in the crystals was absorbed by them. I feel a little stronger, Murenshan said with a smile, and she waved her fist after speaking. Lin Fan used the ring to check the data of the three of them through the rearview mirror. As expected, the data of the three of them have improved with the help of the third-level energy crystal. Just like when he used the first third-level energy crystal, each data has improved a little. After solving the Qinglong Gang's matter this time, collect some third-level energy crystals, and your strength should be able to be promoted to the third-level evolver soon, Lin Fan smiled faintly. Once the Qinglong Gang is solved, it is equivalent to mastering the resources of the entire Songhai. At that time, a wave of cleaning will be carried out on the entire Songhai, and naturally a lot of level 3 zombies will be found, and a lot of level 3 energy crystals will be obtained. Murenzu, Murenshan and Li Zihan are all people with strong talents. Even if they cannot compare with him in the speed of improving their strength by absorbing level 3 energy crystals, they will definitely not be much worse. Therefore, it is not too difficult to improve the strength of the three of them to become level 3 evolvers. Level 3 evolvers are an important threshold for evolvers. Only when they become level 3 evolvers can they be regarded as truly leaving the low level. If Murenzu, Murenshan and Li Zihan all become level 3 evolvers, then their team will be equivalent to having 4 level 3 evolvers. When Ziohei is promoted to level 3, then there will be 5 level 3 evolvers. Such a lineup is definitely in existence that all family forces dare not underestimate at this stage of the doomsday. In the following time, Lin Fan drove back to the Li family. A day later, the RV returned to the Li family. This RV is very familiar to the gatekeepers of the Li family. After driving the car to the parking space and parking, Lin Fan and the other three walked out of the car with Andy. A member of the Li family came forward and greeted Li Zihan. Li Zihan looked at the man and asked hurriedly, "Where are my grandfather and my father, miss?" "Your father went to the Li family branch, and the head of the family is in the study," the man replied. "Okay, I know," Li Zihan nodded slightly. Let's go to the study to find my grandfather first." Li Zihan turned around and looked at Lin Fan and the other two and said. "Yes," Lin Fan also nodded. Then, the four people and the dog did not delay any longer and walked towards the study where Li Xianyun was. At this moment, Li Xianyun was sitting at the desk looking at a map. Hearing footsteps coming from outside the door, he looked up and his eyes met with Lin Fan and the others. A touch of surprise immediately appeared in his eyes. Chapter 341 Two Camps. Lin Fan said before that he would be back in about 50 days. Today was exactly the day of 50 days. Li Xianyun did not go out to arrange things and stayed at home, just to wait for Lin Fan and the others to come back. After all, there were some things that he had to discuss with Lin Fan before he could be sure. Master Li, Lin Fan, Murenzu and Murenshan walked into the study and greeted him. Grandpa, Li Zihan also greeted him. Li Xianyun quickly stood up and asked Lin Fan and the others to sit down. Little friend Lin, did your training go smoothly this time? Li Xianyun asked with concern. It went smoothly, Lin Fan nodded and said. The harvest was not bad, Grandpa. Each of us got a level 3 energy crystal, Li Zihan said with a smile. Oh? One person got one, Li Xianyun was shocked. Level 3 energy crystals are not something that can be found everywhere. You have to kill level 3 zombies to get them. He didn't expect that Lin Fan and the others would get so much this time, and he didn't expect Lin Fan's strength to be so powerful. You know, Murenzu, Murenshan, and Li Zihan, plus Andy, can't deal with the third-level zombies. The third-level zombies they encountered can only be dealt with by Lin Fan. Yes, we each got one. Li Zihan looked at Lin Fan with beautiful eyes and said, it's all Lin Fan's credit. We are just lucky. Thank you very much, little friend Lin. Li Xianyun thanked him sincerely. Li Zihan didn't help to deal with the third-level zombies, but Lin Fan still gave one to Li Zihan. He should really express his gratitude to Lin Fan. Master Li, you're too polite. Lin Fan smiled and shook his head. He didn't say anything more on this topic. He changed the subject and asked, by the way, Master Li, how is the situation on the Alliance side? Very smoothly, Li Xianyun's eyes flashed, and he replied, all the family forces that Xianhong asked about before have joined the Alliance, And some family forces that originally remained neutral have also joined after hearing that our alliance was established. That's really good news, Lin Fan said with a smile. Yes, although the number of neutral families joining is not large, it is better than not joining at all, Li Xianwen said. However, there is a question to consider, Lin Fan pondered. What is the question? Li Xianwen's eyes were fixed on Lin Fan. Lin Shan and Li Zihan also looked at Lin Fan. Obviously, the three of them were also very curious about the question Lin Fan mentioned. The question is, Master Li and Master Fang should not have notified those family forces that originally remained neutral, right? Lin Fan asked. No, Fang Yongtan and I only informed the family forces that were determined to resist, Li Xianwen replied. That's the problem, Lin Fan emphasized, we didn't inform them, but they still knew about it. The Qinglong Gang has many spies in Zhonghe province. Even their other family forces know about it, so the Qinglong Gang must have known about it too. That's right. I really didn't pay attention to this question before, Li Xianwen suddenly reacted. But then, he thought of something and said, however, Mr. Lin, we have arranged people to keep an eye on the Qinglong Gang, and we haven't found any other movements from them. It's the same as usual. Could it be that they really don't know yet? Impossible. The other family forces know about it, they definitely can't be unaware. As for the fact that they are the same as usual and there is no other movement, it can only mean that they are still acting according to their original plan, which is to wait until the first level evolvers created by the mutagenic factor are trained, Lin Fan analyzed. If they didn't know about the formation of the alliance, they could be caught off guard, but now that they know about the existence of the alliance, they will also think carefully about a battle plan at that time. What Mr. Lin said is right, then what should we do now? After listening to Lin Fan's analysis, Li Xianwen's mind quickly turned, and he agreed with Lin Fan's idea. He just didn't think about it in this way before, and thought that the Qinglong Gang didn't move because they didn't know. After all, in his opinion, with the domineering character of the Qinglong Gang, they should not be indifferent after knowing that they created an alliance to fight. Unfortunately, he predicted wrong this time. All the family forces in the alliance knew about the alliance, so how could the Qinglong Gang not know about it? Patriarch Li, don't worry. They know about the existence of the alliance. Although they will come up with some targeted plans, we don't have to worry too much, Lin Fan said solemnly. We didn't think that there would be neutral family forces joining us. Now there are neutral family forces joining us. Our strength is stronger than we thought. I personally think that we should not consider detailed strategies for the time being. What we should do for the time being is to simply split into two camps to welcome the Qinglong Gang. Two camps? Li Xianwen was puzzled. Lin Shan and Li Zihan also had puzzled expressions on their faces. Yes, two camps, Lin Fan nodded and said, one is the camp headed by your side, and the other is the camp headed by the Fang family. Divide into two camps to deal with the Qinglong Gang, so the people of the Qinglong Gang must also be divided into two groups. Although Dong Fangling will definitely lead the team here in person, the Fang family must at least arrange a deputy gang leader to lead the team over, and then make arrangements based on their specific number of people at that time. However, you need to first notify the Fang family and those family forces that have joined the alliance, and let them bring their people to the city where your two major families are located to meet up. This is the countermeasure that Lin Fan has thought of at the moment, and he doesn't think there's any problem with it. Li Xianwen nodded immediately and said, okay, I will arrange for someone to notify Fang Yongtan and the family forces that have joined the alliance. In addition, Patriarch Li, I personally suggest that you arrange another team to go straight to the headquarters base of the Qinglong Gang in Bei'an City. Lin Fan smiled faintly and said, after their people come out, this team can force their way in and occupy their headquarters base. Once they are defeated, those who escape back will have no place to stay and will be forced to surrender. Those who surrender voluntarily can still be accepted. After all, in Doomsday, human resources are the most important resource. Even if they have done wrong things before, it was because they were in different camps. If they are willing to surrender voluntarily, there is no need to kill them. Chapter 342 Training ends. Hearing Lin Fan's words, Li Xianwen wanted to applaud. Arrange a team to attack the headquarters of the Qinglong Gang. What better way is there than this? The people of the Qinglong Gang, including Dong Fangling, Tian Xiaobing and Liao Fihong, never dreamed that they would have such an arrangement. After all, in their opinion, all their thoughts should be on how to resist them. How can they have the courage to attack their headquarters? Li Xianyu nodded repeatedly and said, "Okay, I will personally select the people to arrange this team, and we must take down their headquarters. As for those who surrender voluntarily, we must give them a way out and will not kill them all." "Yes," Lin Fan nodded. "Little friend Lin, you have been training for so many days and drove back. You must be tired. Why don't you go back to your room and have a good rest first?" Li Xianyu said. Okay, Lin Fan would not refuse this suggestion. Although they had rested for so many days of training, they really didn't sleep well. Now that they are back to the Li family, they can naturally sleep well. Let's go back and rest," Lin Fan stood up and said, looking at Murenzhu and Murenshan. Okay, Murenzhu and Murenshan looked at each other and stood up as well. The three of them did not delay and took Andy back to the courtyard where they lived, and went back to their rooms to rest. "Zio-han, you should go and rest too," Li Xianyu looked at Li Zihan and said. "Okay, Grandpa," Li Zihan nodded. She knew that Li Xianyu still had to arrange the things that Lin Fan had just mentioned. Just when Li Zihan was about to turn around and leave, Li Xianyu seemed to have thought of something again and asked hurriedly, "By the way, Zio-han, when I looked at Lin Fan just now, it seemed that his aura was much stronger. Has his strength improved again in this experience?" Li Xianyu did not have a ring like Lin Fan that could read specific data. He could only judge based on the aura emanating from Lin Fan. Compared to 50 days ago, he did feel that Lin Fan's aura was stronger. "It should be. I saw that he was much stronger than before when he attacked," Li Zihan replied, "but I don't know how much stronger he is, because the level 3 zombies we encountered during the training process should not be stronger than Liao Fihong." Li Zihan was right. The level 3 zombies they encountered this time just happened to have reached the level 3 stage, which is equivalent to 12 in all data, while Liao Fihong's data is 13 in all data, so the strength of those level 3 zombies cannot be compared with Liao Fihong. Well, Lin Fan's growth potential is really too terrifying. I estimate that if he is given some more time, he can be promoted to level 4 evolver, Li Xianyu said boldly. "Level 4 evolver," Li Zihan murmured. "She is still too far away from this level. Okay, Ziahan, go back and rest. I will also arrange things." Li Xianyu waved his hand and did not say more on this topic. "Okay, Grandpa," Li Zihan nodded lightly, walked out of the study, returned to her own room, and began to rest. Li Xianyu immediately arranged for someone to notify the Fang family, and then he also arranged for someone to notify the families that had joined the alliance, asking them to bring their people to Zhonghe City to join up. He believed that Lin Fan's plan would not be wrong. Dongguan City. In a study, Liao Fihong was sitting on a chair drinking tea. Not long after, a figure walked in from outside and said respectfully, "Deputy Gang Leader." "Well, what's the matter?" Liao Fihong asked after looking at the man calmly. "Deputy Gang Leader, we have heard that the families that have joined the alliance between the Li and Fang families are all heading towards the place where the Li and Fang families are located," the man reported. Oh, this news made Liao Fihong frown slightly, and he said, "Are they rushing to join up?" The man naturally did not dare to speculate on such matters, and stood there without saying a word. Liao Fihong thought for a moment, stood up from his chair, and said, "I'm going to the headquarters base now. You guys stay here and guard it. No one is allowed to leave without my order. Do you understand?" "I understand," the man nodded repeatedly. Seeing this, Liao Fihong didn't waste any time. He walked outside, got into the car quickly, and drove towards Bei'an City. A few hours later, Liao Fihong's car drove into the headquarters base of Bei'an City. After parking the car, Liao Fihong didn't waste any time. Just like last time, he went to the training ground to look for Tian Xiaobing. As expected, he saw Tian Xiaobing's figure on the training ground. At this time, Tian Xiaobing and others were just resting. In the past 50 days, Tian Xiaobing has been conducting high-intensity training on these first-level evolvers day and night, so that they all have rich combat experience and are just short of engaging in actual combat. "Xiaobing," Liao Fihong shouted to Tian Xiaobing. Hearing the shout, Tian Xiaobing looked back and saw that it was Liao Fihong walking towards him, so he also walked towards Liao Fihong. "Fihong, why are you here?" Tian Xiaobing asked curiously. "There is the latest news from the Li family and the Fang family," Liao Fihong said. "What latest news?" Tian Xiaobing asked hurriedly. "I just heard that the family forces that joined their alliance have begun to bring people to their two families," Liao Fihong said. Go to their two families. Tian Xiaobin frowned and thought about it. After a long while, he pondered and said, what are these people going to do? Go and meet together. I thought so too, but they did not gather together, but the Li family and the Fang family gathered separately. It seems that they don't plan to gather together, Liao Fihong analyzed. Well, if they want to gather together, then there is no need to split into two groups now, just go to the Li family directly. Tian Xiaobin agreed with Liao Fihong's analysis, and then he said, I guess they are likely to split into two groups to fight us. If that's the case, then our manpower must be divided into two groups. After all, the distance between the Li family and the Fang family is not close. If we concentrate on attacking the Li family, the Fang family will not sit idly by. If we concentrate on attacking the Fang family, the Li family will not sit idly by, Liao Fihong said. That's right. If they split into two groups, then we must also split into two groups. Tian Xiaobin nodded and said, however, we still have to wait for the gang leader to decide on this matter. It happens that my training work here is almost finished. After reporting to the gang leader, it will also be good for the gang leader to see when to go out. Chapter 343, A Step Up. Okay, let's go find the gang leader, Liao Fihong nodded. Although he and Tian Xiaobin were both deputy gang leaders of the Qinglong gang, they could not make the decision on such a big matter. They had to ask Dong Fangling and let Dong Fangling make the decision. The two of them did not delay any longer. They walked out of the training ground and headed towards the villa where Dong Fangling lived. Along the way, they talked about what had happened during this period. However, apart from what happened outside, there was nothing big happening inside their Qinglong gang. There were only some trivial matters. The two of them quickly came to the villa where Dong Fangling lived. After walking in, they found that Dong Fangling was still in seclusion. Like last time, Tian Xiaobin knocked on the door. After a while, Dong Fangling opened the door. Gang leader, Tian Xiaobin shouted. Gang leader, Liao Fihong also greeted him. Dong Fangling nodded. He didn't need to guess that they came to see him together, so there must be something important. Go ahead. Dong Fangling walked to the sofa and sat down. Tian Xiaobin glanced at Liao Fihong and motioned for him to speak. Liao Fihong said without hesitation, Boss, I got the news that the alliance created by the Li family and the Fang family has been divided into two camps, one led by the Li family and the other led by the Fang family. The family forces that joined their alliance are all heading to their respective cities. Two camps. Dong Fangling narrowed his eyes and said, that means they want us to split into two groups, one to deal with the Li family and one to deal with the Fang family. Yes, boss, Fihong, and I think so too. Tian Xiaobin looked at Dong Fangling and said, Boss, what action should we take? Liao Fihong asked. Dong Fangling glanced at Tian Xiaobin and asked, how is the training going on your side? To the boss, I have completed the training, and all the evolvers have rich combat experience, Tian Xiaobin said confidently. He still has this confidence in the people he personally trained. Dong Fangling also believed that Tian Xiaobin would not make empty promises here. Since Tian Xiaobin said so, it means that Tian Xiaobin has indeed trained those evolvers to have rich combat experience. It's good that they have been trained, Dong Fangling nodded, and then said, in the next 5 days, let everyone rest well, adjust their state, and get in good spirits. After 5 days, we will take action, okay? Tian Xiaobin and Liao Fihong looked at each other. However, Liao Fihong was curious and said, Boss, I have a question and I don't know if I should ask it. Ask whatever you want to ask, but it doesn't matter, Dong Fangling said. Let everyone rest and adjust their state. 2 days should be enough. Why does the boss say it will take 5 days? Liao Fihong asked his doubts. Tian Xiaobin was also curious about this question. Hearing Liao Fihong ask this, he also became interested and stared at Dong Fangling closely. Feeling the puzzled gazes, Dong Fangling smiled faintly and said, because my retreat during this period has had a good effect. I have a feeling that within 5 days, my strength should be able to reach a higher level. Tian Xiaobin and Liao Fihong were stunned for a moment, and then a look of astonishment appeared on their faces. Liao Fihong couldn't help but say, Boss, are you saying that your strength will be promoted to level 4 evolver? They all knew that Dong Fangling was already at the level of a top level 3 evolver. With such strength, if he could reach a higher level, wouldn't it mean he would become a level 4 evolver? Yes, Dong Fangling smiled and nodded, saying, if nothing unexpected happens, within 5 days, I will be a level 4 evolver. Congratulations, boss. Hearing Dongfang Ling say it himself, Tian Xiaobing and Liao Fihong congratulated him in advance. They all knew what a level 4 evolver meant. It meant that the entire Songhai could be swept through, and absolutely no one could resist it. Don't leak this news, Dongfang Ling said. Yes, Tian Xiaobing and Liao Fihong nodded in response. Okay, in short, for the next 5 days, we will continue to keep our troops in place and let everyone rest and adjust their status. After I am promoted to the 4th level evolver, we will defeat the alliance of the Li family and the Fang family in one fell swoop. By then, the entire Songhai will belong to our territory, Dongfang Ling pondered. After the three of them continued to chat for a while, Dongfang Ling continued to retreat in his room, while Tian Xiaobing and Liao Fihong walked out of the villa. That's great, Liao Fihong said with emotion. The strength of the gang leader has reached the 4th level evolver, which is simply the existence of no opponent. The alliance created by the Li family and the Fang family will be vulnerable in front of the gang leader, that's for sure. The strength of the 4th level evolver has exceeded our imagination. Fortunately, we joined the Qinglong gang in the first place, otherwise, our way out would not be much better, Tian Xiaobing also sighed. Yes, Liao Fihong smiled and nodded, saying, by the way, we will also be divided into 2 groups. I will definitely wait there to deal with the Li family. As for the Fang family, maybe the gang leader will arrange for you to lead people there. If nothing unexpected happens, it should be like this. After all, the Li family is the #1 enemy. The gang leader will definitely lead the team to the Li family in person, Tian Xiaobing said. Well, when the time comes, if Lin Fan falls into my hands, I will definitely let him experience the taste of living a life worse than death. A vicious expression appeared on Liao Fihong's face. Tian Xiaobing reached out and patted Liao Fihong on the shoulder, saying, that's not it. If you don't get your face back, how can you convince the crowd in the future? However, the boy's strength is indeed very strong. This time, no matter what, we must get rid of him. If we don't get rid of him, he will definitely become a huge threat to our Qinglong gang in the future, Liao Fihong pondered. Don't worry, with the gang leader personally leading the team, no matter how capable the boy is, he will not survive and will definitely die, Tian Xiaobing said. The two chatted for a while before Liao Fihong said goodbye. Then I'll go back first. Okay, you go back, Tian Xiaobing nodded. Liao Fihong didn't delay any longer and drove back the same way. Tian Xiaobing continued to go to the training ground. He called everyone together and said loudly, our training has officially ended so far. In the next few days, you should have a good rest and adjust your condition so that you can go out with the gang leader to suppress the alliance between the Li family and the Fang family. They had all heard about the alliance between the Li family and the Fang family, so now they were also full of fighting spirit for that alliance. Yes, everyone answered in unison, their voices like a bell. Chapter 344 3 Hidden Weapons. Li's house. Lin Fan was in the room when there was a knock on the door. Lin Fan got up and walked over to open the door, and saw Li Zihun. Are you alone? Where are they? Lin Fan asked with a smile. The they he asked about were naturally Murinzhu and Murinshan. They and Andy are still outside. I came to find you to go to my grandfather's place. My grandfather helped you find a few of the hidden weapons you mentioned before, and asked you to choose one. Li Zihun smiled. Since time was tight, Lin Fan couldn't run back to the island to ask Mr. Wang to help him make a hidden weapon. So, he asked Li Xianun yesterday if there were any good hidden weapons. Li Xianun told him to give him one night to look carefully in the warehouse. After all, during this period of time, the Li family's warehouse had also added a lot of things, and maybe there was the hidden weapon that Lin Fan wanted. However, the amount of things stored in the warehouse was very large, so he had to arrange people to find it. Okay, let's go to the study, Lin Fan nodded. The two quickly walked towards the study room, where Li Xianun was waiting. Seeing Lin Fan and Li Zihun coming, he smiled and greeted them. Little friend Lin, come and take a look. These hidden weapons were all found in our Li family's storehouse. Lin Fan walked forward and looked at the table. There were 3 hidden weapons in total. A dagger, a dart, and a steel needle as thick as a finger. The 3 hidden weapons were neatly placed on the table. Lin Fan looked at them carefully, and then took the dagger, dart, and steel needle in his hands to feel them. He found that these 3 hidden weapons were not bad. Although they were not made of special materials, they were not ordinary ones. It can be seen that Li Xiannian also took a lot of effort to find them. Master Li, if you don't need these, then give me all 3 hidden weapons, Lin Fan said. We don't need them, just take them, Li Xiannian responded. Although he didn't know what Lin Fan was going to do with these hidden weapons, they really didn't need them. If Lin Fan wanted them, there was no reason for him not to give them to him. Thank you, Patriarch Li, Lin Fan thanked him. Little friend Lin, you are too polite, Li Xiannian waved his hand. Lin Fan didn't say what he was going to do with them, and he wouldn't ask it this time. But soon, he thought of another question and said, by the way, little friend Lin, the rest of the family forces will all gather the day after tomorrow. Then we will go to meet them together, no problem, Lin Fan nodded and said, where do they live? I will temporarily arrange them in the branch, Li Xiannian said. The branch of the Li family is where the Zhuang family was before. There's a large area and many houses there, which is very suitable for those family forces that have gathered here to live there. Moreover, even if there is no room, there are many buildings around the branch, and they can still be arranged in. That place is very suitable, Lin Fan smiled. After chatting for a while, Lin Fan didn't delay any more, said goodbye and left, and returned to his room. He took out the dagger, darts and steel needles and placed them on the table. Then he moved his mind and controlled them to float up at the same time. However, after floating for a short distance, they fell back to the table. It seems that to control 3 objects at the same time, I have to practice constantly. Lin Fan's eyes flashed slightly, and he said with enlightenment in his heart. In his current situation, there is absolutely no problem in controlling an object. But since Li Xiannian found 3 good hidden weapons, he thinks he should use them all. If he can control 3 hidden weapons at the same time, the effect of his sneak attack will be greatly improved. 1 hidden weapon is 1 times the damage, and 3 hidden weapons are 3 times the damage. The first control failed, but it was not a problem for Lin Fan at all. He adjusted his mentality and continued to devote himself to the control. For 2 whole days, Lin Fan was controlling the 3 hidden weapons. On the morning of the 3rd day, in the room, Lin Fan sat on the bed. With a thud, the dagger, darts and steel needles flew up around his body, and then under his control, they moved around his body at an extremely fast speed. After 2 days of continuous practice, he had mastered all 3 hidden weapons. Dong dong. After a while, there was a knock on the door. Immediately afterwards, Murong Shan's voice spread, Brother Lin Fan, are you up? I'm up, right away, Lin Fan replied, then got off the bed, took the 3 hidden weapons with him, and went to open the door. Murongzu and Murong Shan were standing at the door waiting for him. The head of the Li family said that we should go to the branch together, Murongzu said. Yeah, I know, he said that the day before yesterday. Lin Fan smiled and nodded, saying, let's go. The 3 of them walked out of the courtyard and met up with Li Xiannian, Li Zihan and others. After greeting each other, the group drove to the branch. During this period, Li Changjin was mostly watching the Li family's branch. In addition, people from other family forces have come here one after another in the past 2 days, and Li Changjin is even more busy and has to greet them here. After the car drove into the branch and parked, Lin Fan and others got out of the car and followed Li Xiannian to the meeting hall. This meeting hall can accommodate a lot of people. The family forces that rushed over all sent representatives to attend this meeting. Everyone's eyes were focused on Li Xiannian and others. When Li Xiannian walked to the head of the conference table, the people along the way all greeted him. No matter what, Li Xiannian is now the leader of the alliance and the head of the Li family, the largest family in Songhai. His own strength is also quite powerful. All these are enough to make them admire from the bottom of their hearts. Everyone, please take a seat, Li Xiannian greeted. Everyone sat down, and Lin Fan and others also sat down next to the conference table. I won't say any polite words, let's get straight to the point. Li Xiannian's eyes narrowed slightly, and said, according to our estimation, the Qinglong gang should also take action, so we've gathered everyone together with the purpose of resisting them. When I visited you before, I mentioned that our Li family was able to get rid of the Zhuang family, and that was entirely due to the strategy of young friend Lin Fan. I believe that by now, you are all familiar with the reputation of young friend Lin Fan. Not only was he able to force his way out of the Qinglong gang base, he also injured their deputy gang leader Liao Fihong, Li Xiannian said. His eyes fell on Lin Fan, and said, now, please let young friend Lin say hello to everyone. As Li Xianlong finished speaking, a burst of enthusiastic applause suddenly rang out in the conference hall. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 345 Dongfang Ling Breakthrough. They had heard a lot about Lin Fan, and what shocked them the most was that Lin Fan had injured Liao Fihong. As the deputy leader of the Qinglong gang, Liao Fihong was a genuine third-level evolver. They had all heard of his strength. If they were asked to deal with Liao Fihong, they would be ashamed of themselves and could not be Liao Fihong's opponent. But Liao Fihong, such a master, was defeated by Lin Fan and his arm was injured by Lin Fan. What does this show? It shows that Lin Fan's strength is stronger than Liao Fihong. Moreover, Lin Fan is only 20 years old. In terms of growth potential, it is unknown how much higher he is than Liao Fihong. At this moment, everyone's eyes suddenly focused on Lin Fan. Most of these eyes were full of admiration. After all, in the Doomsday world, real strength is respected. If Lin Fan can defeat Liao Fihong, he can gain their respect. Everyone knows this truth. Feeling the gazes of the crowd, Lin Fan stood up and greeted everyone. Li Xianlong glanced at them and continued, "This time, our strategy to deal with the Qinglong gang will still be formulated by Lin Fan." Lin Fan took over and said, "The Qinglong gang has not taken any specific actions yet. After they take specific actions and see how many people they have assigned, we will formulate a specific strategy based on the specific situation. After all, our people are now divided into two groups. If they want to deal with us, they have to divide them into two groups as well." Everyone knew that the other group was led by the Fang family, so they naturally had no objection to what Lin Fan said. This meeting was equivalent to getting to know each other first, and it did not have much substantive significance. 2 hours later, the meeting ended. Those people from the family forces left one after another, and soon only Lin Fan and others were left in the conference hall. "Master Li, is there any problem with the people arranged by Bei'an City to keep an eye on them?" Lin Fan asked. "Absolutely no problem," Li Xianlong said confidently. "I asked Changjun to specially select those people. They will pay attention to the developments in Bei'an City 24 hours a day. Once there is any change, they will arrange people to come back and tell us." "That's good," Lin Fan nodded and said, "Calculate the time. As long as the Qinglong gang is efficient, then the batch of evolvers they created should have completed the training. I think they will be dispatched in the next 2 days, so we must keep a close eye on them. Now there are about 100 people arranged. Do you want to arrange some more people to watch?" Li Xianlong asked. "Those 100 people are naturally not all from their own Li family. There are also people who joined the Li family later. You know, after the Zhuang family was eliminated, the Li family is an absolutely powerful existence in Songhai City. Some people who had no background power before have now joined the Li family. Otherwise, the Li family may not be able to arrange so many people. Of course, if we want to arrange now, we can use people from other family forces. Now everyone is in the same boat, which can be said to be truly sharing honor and disgrace, and everyone has the right to contribute." 100 people, Lin Fan thought for a moment, then said, "It should be enough, no need to increase it." "Yes," Li Xianlong nodded. Base. In the room of the villa, a figure was constantly hitting wooden stakes. This kind of wooden stake is not an ordinary wooden stake, but is made of an extremely hard wood, and the thickness is also greatly improved. Bang! 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 Hands and feet hit the wooden stakes, and there are continuous dull sounds. Bang! After the state of hitting continued for about half an hour, the figure suddenly increased the force of the attack. With a bang, the wooden stake in front of him actually exploded directly, and wood chips flew to the ground. "The power of a 4th-level evolver is indeed extraordinary," a whisper came from the mouth of this figure. This figure is naturally the leader of the Qinglong gang, Dongfang Ling. He has been in seclusion for so many days just to break through to the 4th-level evolver. Finally, he succeeded in breaking through today and crossed the threshold of the 4th-level evolver. He looked down at the sawdust on the ground, then at his palms, and then clenched his palms together, and a crisp sound suddenly came out between the joints. Dongfang Ling's face showed a deep smile, first without any sound, but finally he laughed out loud. He was very happy and excited. In his opinion, A fourth-level evolver with such strength was definitely enough to sweep across the entire Songhai, and no one could stop him. After staying in the room for a while, he opened the door and walked out. "Someone come." Dongfangling sat on the sofa and shouted to the outside of the door. "Boss." A man walked in from outside the door quickly and shouted respectfully to Dongfangling. "Go and call Tian Xiaobing for me," Dongfangling ordered. "Yes," the man answered quickly, and then did not dare to delay for a moment, turned around and walked out of the villa, and went straight to where Tian Xiaobing was. Deputy gang leader? At this time, Tian Xiaobing was also in his own villa. When the man came, he said, "The gang leader asked me to call you over." "Oh." The gang leader called me. Hearing this, Tian Xiaobing was slightly startled, and then he thought of something, and his face was also full of smiles. He said, "Okay, I'll go over right away." After the voice fell, he did not delay at all and immediately rushed to Dongfangling's villa. Soon, Tian Xiaobing arrived at Dongfangling's villa. "Gang leader." Tian Xiaobing looked at Dongfangling and shouted. He could clearly feel that Dongfangling's aura was a little stronger. "If I'm not mistaken, the gang leader has broken through to the fourth level of evolution, right?" "Yes, he has broken through." Dongfangling smiled and nodded. "Congratulations, gang leader." "Congratulations, gang leader," Tian Xiaobing said. Dongfangling waved his hand and motioned Tian Xiaobing to sit down and talk. Tian Xiaobing immediately sat on the sofa. Dongfangling said, "Now that my strength has broken through to the fourth level of evolution, there is no need to delay our expansion. We will officially start tomorrow." "Yes, we have been waiting for this day for a long time. Everyone's status has been adjusted. There is no problem at all," Tian Xiaobing responded. "Well, it's good that the status has been adjusted." Dongfangling nodded and said, "The Li family and the Fang family still haven't merged together, right?" "No, they are still in their respective cities. It seems that they really don't plan to merge together," Tian Xiaobing said slowly. Chapter 346 Action tomorrow. Since they have no intention of merging together, we must also divide into two groups to deal with them at the same time. Dongfangling tapped his fingers lightly on the table and said slowly, "I have to lead the team to the Li family myself. Fihong is in Dongguan City, which is very close to Songhai City. He has to go with me. Then, you must lead the team to the Fang family. Is there any problem?" "Don't worry, boss, there is no problem. I will definitely take down the Fang family and those family forces that join them," Tian Xiaobing replied with full information. How could he refuse such a great opportunity to make meritorious deeds? He believed that with his strength, as long as he took people there, the Fang family and other family forces would definitely not be their opponents. "Well, it's good to have confidence," Dongfangling nodded, and then reminded, "However, if their strength is not weak, you don't have to force them to fight, just delay time, and I will go to support you after I take down the Li family." It's not that Dongfangling doesn't trust Tian Xiaobing's ability, but this kind of thing is not easy to say. If the Fang family and other family forces put up a desperate resistance, Tian Xiaobing's side will attack hard. Even if Tian Xiaobing's side wins, the result will undoubtedly be a lose-lose situation. In short, his strength has reached the fourth level of evolution, and it will be very fast to take down the Li family. Waiting for him to take down the Li family and then go to support against the Fang family, that is the safest way, and there will be no mistakes. "Okay, boss," Tian Xiaobing nodded. On the surface, he agreed, but in his heart he still expected him to take down the Fang family and others, so that his contribution would be outstanding. "Then let's assign the manpower now, and notify them after the assignment, and set off tomorrow morning," Dongfangling said. "Well," Tian Xiaobing nodded again. "There are 5 level 3 and above evolvers in our gang now, including you and me. I will go with Fihong, and let the other 2 follow you," Dongfangling pondered. The huge Qinglong gang, including Dongfangling, Liao Fihong and Tian Xiaobing, indeed only has 5 level 3 and above evolvers. And now Dongfangling has broken through to the level of level 4 evolvers. One level 4 evolver is equivalent to many level 3 evolvers. Therefore, he thinks that it is completely unnecessary for the other 2 level 3 evolvers to go to the Li family with him. It is more appropriate to go to the Fang family with Tian Xiaobing. There are currently 200 level 2 evolvers, and we will take 100 each. As for the level 1 evolvers, the total number is 1,100, right? Then you take 600, and I will take 500, Dongfangling arranged the manpower. "Okay, Tian Xiaobin nodded quickly. As for Dongfang Ling's arrangements, he naturally chose to obey unconditionally, and there was no need to sing a different tune from Dongfang Ling. Moreover, Dongfang Ling's arrangement was also for his own good, in order to avoid any mistakes on his side. Okay, then it's confirmed. You go and assign the personnel now, Dongfang Ling said. Tian Xiaobin did not delay, got up and walked out of the villa, and began to assign the personnel. This workload was not big, but not small. After working for several hours, it was finally completed. When Tian Xiaobin returned to the villa to report to Dongfang Ling, the sky had already darkened. Boss, I have assigned all the personnel? Tian Xiaobin looked at Dongfang Ling and said. Yes, Dongfang Ling nodded and said, then, immediately send someone to notify Fi Huang and ask him to gather the personnel and get ready. When I lead the people over here, he will also lead the people directly from Dongguan City, and then meet at the highway intersection of Zhonghe City. Although Dongguan City is very close to Zhonghe City, the direction of Dongguan City is different from that of Bei'an City. Going from Bei'an City to Zhonghe City will not pass through Dongguan City. Dongfang Ling felt that there was no need to go to Dongguan City to waste time, so he naturally had to inform Liao Fihong first and let Liao Fihong take people to wait for them. In this way, the two sides just met in Zhonghe City. Okay, boss, I'll arrange it right away, Tian Xiaobin nodded. Well, go ahead, Dongfang Ling waved his hand. Tian Xiaobin did not delay any longer, turned around and walked out of the villa, and immediately made arrangements. Not only did he have to arrange people to notify Liao Fihong, but he also had to allocate the evolvers, so his work was also quite busy. After the arrangements were completed, he returned to his villa to rest. At the same time, the person who was arranged to inform had already arrived in front of Liao Fihong. Deputy gang leader, the informant looked at Liao Fihong and said in a deep voice, the gang leader asked me to inform you that he will personally lead people to Zhonghe City tomorrow morning, so he will not delay you. You should estimate the time by yourself and take people from here to Zhonghe City to wait for the reunion. Okay, I understand, Liao Fihong nodded, his eyes full of smiles. Since Dongfang Ling has decided to take action, it is enough to show that Dongfang Ling's strength has broken through to the level of a 4th level evolver. In this way, there is no need to guess that their Qinglong gang's action this time will be smooth sailing. Lin Fan. Your death will come soon, Liao Fihong said in his heart. The last time he was injured by Lin Fan, although he did not say anything on the surface, he still had a grudge in his heart. After all, Lin Fan was so young, and he injured him, the deputy gang leader of the Qinglong gang. In any case, he felt a little embarrassed. But these are not important. Everything will end soon, and Lin Fan will die in their hands. By the way, the gang leader is personally leading people to Zhonghe City. Will deputy gang leader Tian lead the team to deal with the Fang family? Liao Fihong asked. Yes, the reporter nodded. Okay, Liao Fihong waved his hand and said, it's so late, you don't have to go back to Bei'an City, just stay here. Anyway, we have to meet up with the gang leader and others. Yes, the reporter nodded again. He had no different opinions on Liao Fihong's arrangement. Go down and rest, Liao Fihong said, just let them take you to your room. Okay, the reporter turned and walked out of the villa, and found a room to stay in under the guidance of another person. Liao Fihong looked in the direction of Zhonghe City, and a sneer slowly appeared on his face. The next morning, just after dawn, the headquarters base was already active. Dongfang Ling and Tian Xiaobin came to the big square, looking at the many evolvers gathered in front of them, and there was a deep satisfaction in their eyes. Line up according to the division 1 gave you yesterday, Tian Xiaobin glanced at everyone and said loudly. Chapter 347, Set Out. Hearing this, everyone immediately took action and stood in line according to the arrangement made by Tian Xiaobin last night. Soon, these evolvers were divided into 2 teams. The number of people in the left team was larger than that in the right team. Go ahead, Dongfang Ling glanced at Tian Xiaobin. Yes, Tian Xiaobin nodded and walked towards the front of the left team. Dongfang Ling's voice slowly spread, everyone, today is the day when we officially start to unify. I believe you have all learned that the Li family and the Fang family have created an alliance and have gathered some family forces together to prepare to resist us. I can only say that their behavior is like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. It is quite ridiculous. Do they think that creating an alliance can stop our progress? We will soon let them know that they are just wasting their time and energy. Now, I can also tell you that my strength has broken through to the level of a 4th level evolver." When Dongfang Ling's last words were heard, the atmosphere in the entire square was quiet for a while, and then suddenly exploded. The leader's strength has actually broken through to the 4th level of the evolver. Haha, who else in our Qinglong gang can stop him? Yes, this is really great news. The strength of a 4th level evolver is definitely very powerful. The Li family and the Fang family are completely courting their own destruction. They don't know that the leader has the strength of a 4th level evolver. If they knew, they would be scared to death. Of course, with our leader here, they will definitely perish. Everyone started discussing passionately. Dongfang Ling did not stop the discussion. He said at this time that his strength had broken through to the 4th level of the evolver. This was the effect he wanted. Because this would have a good encouraging effect on these people, and make them full of confidence and morale in the next battle. After all, in such a battle, there would be casualties on both sides. Although many of them knew that they would win, they did not want too many casualties. Now that there is a 4th level evolver like Dongfang Ling in charge, they naturally won't worry too much. When the discussion gradually died down, Dongfang Ling continued, "The alliance created by the Li family and the Fang family did not merge together, but was divided into 2 camps in their respective cities. So, this time we have to go out in 2 groups. One group will be led by me to the Li family, and the other group will be led by Xia Bing to the Fang family. Now, I ask you one last question. Do you have the confidence to win this battle?" "Yes, yes, yes," everyone answered 3 times in a row, and the momentum soared to the sky. "Very good," Dongfang Ling nodded and said, "Since everyone is confident that they can win this battle, let's go now and wipe out the alliance between the Li family and the Fang family in one fell swoop." While speaking, Dongfang Ling looked at Tian Xiaobing and gave him a look. Tian Xiaobing understood what Dongfang Ling meant and waved his hand. "Get ready to go." The 2 teams, led by Dongfang Ling and Tian Xiaobing, walked out of the base and headed in 2 different directions. At the same time, the people that Li Xianun arranged to observe secretly also noticed this scene. After roughly evaluating the number of people in the 2 teams, they did not waste any time and immediately rushed back to the Li family at the fastest speed. Dongfang Ling and his group had a lot of people, so naturally they could not compare with the people who were arranged to inquire about the situation in terms of speed. Therefore, the people who were inquiring about the situation had to return to the Li family several hours earlier than them. In the study, Li Xianun and Lin Fan and others were all here. The captain who was inquiring about the situation first greeted Li Xianun, and then said, "Master, the people from the Qinglong gang are out." "Well, tell me the details quickly," Li Xianun said hurriedly. "Yes," the captain nodded and said, "They are divided into 2 teams. One team led by Dongfang Ling is heading straight to Zhonghe City, and the other team led by Tian Xiaobing is heading straight to the direction of the Fang family. This is within our expectations." Li Xianun nodded again and asked, "Do you have an estimate of their number?" "Yes," the captain replied. "The team led by Dongfang Ling has about 600 people, and the team led by Tian Xiaobing has about 700 people." "Oh?" Tian Xiaobing led a team to deal with the Fang family, and the number of people he led was actually more than that of Dongfang Ling. Li Xianun's eyes showed a hint of doubt. "Boss, this is what we saw with our own eyes. There is no mistake. This is indeed the case," the captain said in a firm tone. "Of course I believe you, otherwise I would not have arranged for you to lead the team to keep an eye on it. I just felt very surprised that Tian Xiaobing led more people," Li Xianun said. He knew that the captain misunderstood what he meant and thought he was questioning. "Normal." At this time, Lin Fan said, "Dongfang Ling is the strongest in the entire Qinglong gang. He personally led the team here with fewer people, which shows that he has absolute confidence in his own strength, so he let Tian Xiaobing lead more people. Moreover, Liao Fihuang and others are still in Dongguan City, which is not far from us. If my guess is correct, Liao Fihuang and others should join Dongfang Ling's team. After joining together, the manpower of both sides is estimated to be not much different." Lin Fan's analysis is always so sharp. After hearing what Lin Fan said, Li Xianun nodded in agreement and said, "Yes, Liao Fihuang and others will definitely not participate in this operation. After all, this is a matter of great importance, and all human resources that can be used will be used." "Yes, they have been preparing for so many days, aren't they, just for this day?" Lin Fan smiled faintly. Seeing the faint smile on Lin Fan's face, The stone in Li Xianlun's heart fell a little. Then, he asked, "Friend Lin, now that we know their specific situation, how should we deal with them?" "Don't worry about the Fang family. We've already told them to focus on defense. We can help them when we are free," Lin Fan pondered. "As for us, we can still ambush them." They predicted from the beginning that Dongfangling would lead the team here in person, so there was no need to worry too much about the Fang family. They could just focus on defense and didn't need to fight beyond Xia Elbing and others. As for defense, Lin Fan didn't worry at all that Fang Yongtan and others couldn't defend. Chapter 348 Pre-War Preparation. Ambush. Li Xianlun's eyes narrowed slightly, and he said, "Friend Lin, if it is an ambush, where should we go?" Li Xianlun didn't say it directly. What he actually wanted to express was that someone like Dongfangling was definitely more experienced than Zhuangfanglin. If they arranged an ambush, they might be discovered by Dongfangling, and it would still be ineffective. Although Li Xianlun didn't say it directly, Lin Fan knew what Li Xianlun meant. Lin Fan smiled faintly and said, "Master Li, if we arrange an ambush, it is definitely impossible to achieve the same effect as when we attacked the banker. After all, the Qinglong gang is not comparable to the banker. The gap between the banker and them is too big, and Zhuangfanglin can't be better than Dongfangling. Arranging an ambush is not to achieve a good sneak attack effect, but to purely play a disruptive role. Disturbing them is equivalent to disrupting their military morale and formation. Such a large-scale battle disrupts the military morale and formation, which has a considerable effect." After listening to what Lin Fan said, Li Xianlun finally understood Lin Fan's true intention. This is indeed the case. Let's not talk about whether it is good to ambush or not. People like Dongfangling are not so easy to deceive. The ambush is not arranged to affect Dongfangling, but to affect the rest of the people. If the military morale and formation of those people are disrupted, then the chances of their victory will be greater. As for the place where the two sides fought, I personally think that this will not have much impact, because we will eventually have to fight each other, not just hide and shoot. What's more, I believe that their guns and ammunition are definitely richer than ours. We can't compare with them in terms of guns and ammunition, Lin Fan said slowly. This is not the situation on the island. If it were on the island, the guns and ammunition would definitely be as sufficient as possible. Even if the Qinglong gang has a large collection, it can't compare with the reserves on the island. What's more, after so much time has passed, the island is still producing, and the amount of reserves will undoubtedly be richer. Well, this is certain. They have occupied the resources of 4 cities, and the various things they searched for will be more sufficient than us. Li Xianlun nodded. Then, he added, "In fact, I think the most important thing about this battle between us and them is how to defeat Dongfangling. Dongfangling is the strongest. I don't know how strong he is, but what is certain is that he is much stronger than Bian Xia Elbing and Liao Fihong. If we can't defeat Dongfangling, then we can't win the final victory in this battle." This is the problem that Li Xianlun is most worried about, and it is also the problem that other family forces are worried about. They are not afraid of dealing with other people, but Dongfangling, the leader of the Qinglong gang, has really put a lot of pressure on them. If Dongfangling is not defeated, it means that the Qinglong gang will not be defeated. "Master Li, you don't have to worry about this problem," Lin Fan exhaled lightly and said slowly, "Leave Dongfangling to me to deal with." What? Hearing Lin Fan's words, Li Xianlun's body was stunned, and he looked at Lin Fan with surprise, and it would not be an exaggeration to describe it as incredible. "My strength has also improved during my previous training in the mountains. I am much stronger than when I dealt with Liao Fihong. I think I should be able to deal with Dongfangling," Lin Fan said with a faint smile. "Even if we can't defeat him, we can basically hold him back so that he can't be distracted to deal with other people." After all, he had never really fought with Dongfangling, so he couldn't say too much. Seeing the confident look on Lin Fan's face, Li Xianlun had no reason to worry. He nodded and said, Okay, as long as Dongfangling can be held back, we can definitely defeat the others. There are quite a lot of people gathered together this time, and their overall strength is not bad. Without the pressure of Dongfangling, if they still can't defeat the others, then it's really useless." "Well, Master Li, Uncle Li shouldn't know about their dispatch, right?" Lin Fan asked, without saying much about the previous topic. "Anyway, what should come has come, and he also wants to have a good fight with Dongfangling to see how strong the opponent's true strength is." Li Changjin was still at the branch office. The person who reported the situation went back here directly, and no one at the branch office went to notify them. If they don't know, I'll tell them right away so that they can prepare to fight the enemy, Li Xianyun said. The other side came from Bei'an City. There are quite a few people in the team. They have to meet up with Liao Fihong's people first. I guess they won't attack again today. After all, they have been traveling for a whole day, and they have to adjust their condition. Lin Fan's eyes condensed and analyzed. If nothing unexpected happens, they should attack tomorrow. Yes, if it were us, we would also have to let the people in our hands adjust. After all, in their eyes, they have a sure win, so there is no need to rush for so long, Li Xianyun said. Brother Lin Fan, should we go to the branch office together? Muran Shen asked. It's okay to go together. Anyway, we don't have anything else to do at the moment, Lin Fan smiled. They really have nothing else to do now, so it might be a good choice to go to the branch office together to see the situation. Okay, little friend Lin, let's go together, Li Xianyun said. Well, let's go, Lin Fan nodded. Without wasting any more time, the group walked out of the study, got into the car, and drove towards the Li family branch. At the branch, Li Xianyun, Lin Fan and others quickly notified everyone to sit down in the conference hall for a meeting. Everyone, we have just received news that the people from the Qinglong gang have set off and divided into two groups to rush to our side and the Fang family side respectively. The leader of our team is Dong Fangling, and the leader of the Fang family is Yan Xiaobing. Li Xianyun glanced at everyone and continued, as for Liao Fihong, he should also follow Dong Fangling to our side. As for the number of people, he quickly repeated the news in detail. After hearing what he said, someone immediately said, Master Li, we don't have to worry about the rest of the people. The most important thing is Dong Fangling. How can we defeat Dong Fangling? Another person said, yes, this is the key. Dong Fangling is so strong. We can't win this battle if we don't defeat him. Chapter 349 Departure at Midnight. The focus of everyone's concern has always been on defeating Dong Fangling. They all know that Dong Fangling is the core of the Qinglong gang. If this core is not eliminated, they will never be able to win this battle. For this question, if it was before, Li Xianyun would also feel overwhelmed and didn't know how to answer them, but now he is not worried at all, because Lin Fan has given him a guarantee. Li Xianyun turned his eyes and looked at Lin Fan, smiling and said, don't worry, Lin Fan is sure to deal with Dong Fangling. Hearing this, everyone was shocked, and all their eyes were focused on Lin Fan, revealing incredible colors in their eyes. Although they already knew that Lin Fan was a third-level evolver, his strength was not simple, and he had injured Liao Fihong, but Dong Fangling was not something Liao Fihong could compare to. Dong Fangling's strength is definitely much stronger than Liao Fihong. How can Lin Fan defeat Dong Fangling? Could it be that during this period of time, Lin Fan's strength has also increased rapidly? Feeling the gazes of the crowd, Lin Fan stood up and said, leave Dong Fangling to me. I can't guarantee that I can defeat him 100%, but I can definitely guarantee that I can delay him and prevent him from participating in other battles and causing impact. Lin Fan's words did not contain much arrogance, as if he was stating a fact. It must be said that such an attitude penetrated everyone's heart. At this moment, their heart seemed to be kneaded by a big hand. Okay. Brother Lin. With your words, we feel relieved. If Dong Fangling is left to you, then we will definitely have no problem with the rest. Yes. As long as Dong Fangling does not participate in our battle, we will not be afraid of them. Haha, it seems that we are destined to win this battle, everyone expressed excitedly. Lin Fan didn't mind the situation. He nodded slightly and said, I also believe that if we work together, we will definitely defeat them. Everyone continued to discuss, and then Li Xianyun said, they shouldn't come today. We estimate that they will take action tomorrow morning. Everyone should have a good rest tonight, get some energy, and adjust their state. Tomorrow is the decisive battle between us and them. Yes. Hearing this, everyone answered in unison. Then, Li Xianyun, Lin Fan and others did not delay here any longer. But they did not return to the Li family immediately, but went to Li Changjin's room here and had a private conversation. Uncle Li, at midnight today, you can take people directly to the headquarters base of the Qinglong gang in Bei'an City. Lin Fan looked at Li Changjin and said slowly. Don't you wait until they take action. Li Changjin was stunned and asked quickly. No need. Lin Fan shook his head and said, whether they take action tomorrow morning or not, we can be 100% sure that they have already come out of the headquarters base, and they will not guess that we will attack their headquarters base, so it is absolutely right to take down their headquarters base first. Once the headquarters base is gone, the remnants of the Qinglong gang will have nowhere to escape back to. There will be no better choice except surrender. Okay, then I will lead people to set off at midnight today. Li Shangjin nodded. It is not a small matter to attack the headquarters base of the Qinglong gang. Li Xianyun can only feel relieved when Li Changjin leads the team. Well, have you arranged the manpower? Li Xianyun looked at Li Changjin and asked with a smile. Dad, don't worry, everything has been arranged. There is no problem at all, Li Changjin replied confidently. That's good, Li Xianyun nodded. By the way, Uncle Li, once you take down their headquarters base, you leave some people there to watch, and then you can take some people back here, Lin Fan said. Okay, I'll bring people over to support us, Li Shangjin nodded again. Lin Fan smiled, shook his head and said, I'm not asking you to bring people to support us. Then, Li Shangjin was stunned again. Li Xianyun, Li Zihan, Murongsu and Murongshan were also stunned for a moment, looking at Lin Fan with doubts in their eyes, not understanding what Lin Fan meant. If Li Changjin was asked to bring people back here, if it wasn't for support, could it be to come back to watch the show? When we fight them, they will naturally find that you are not here, but they don't have time to guess too much, and they may think that you went to the Fang family to help. After you take down their headquarters base, bring some people back here, and it's best to bring something that can prove that you have been to their headquarters base. If the battle on our side is not over, once you show up with something, it will be enough to prove that you have taken down their headquarters base. In this way, it will inevitably cause a great psychological blow to them, and their combat morale will be even greater. At that time, it will undoubtedly be easier to get rid of them. This is the real purpose of Lin Fan asking Li Changjin to bring people back. Great. Really great. Li Xianyun was the first to give a compliment after hearing this. Li Changjin also nodded repeatedly, thinking that Lin Fan's plan was impeccable. He brought back something that could prove that he had been to the headquarters base of the Qinglong gang. As long as Dongfang Ling and others were not fools or deliberately pretending to be foolish, they would understand that their headquarters base had been taken down. In this way, even if the morale and mentality of people like Dongfang Ling would not be affected, the rest of the people would definitely not be unaffected. Lin Fan, you are so thoughtful, Li Zihan couldn't help but praise. I also thought of it at the last minute, Lin Fan said modestly. Li Xianyun reached out and patted Lin Fan on the shoulder, saying, little friend Lin, we are so lucky to have you on our side. Li Xianyun said this from the bottom of his heart. If Lin Fan didn't stand on their side, then their chances of winning this battle could be said to be almost zero, and they couldn't even create an alliance. The result was only belonging or leaving. Sometimes, they even thought that if Lin Fan stood on Dongfang Ling's side, they would have no chance to struggle. For Li Xianyun's straightforward praise, Lin Fan shook his head and smiled, but he didn't say much about this issue. After the few of them continued to chat for a while, Li Xianyun said, Changjun, let's go back there first. You can just take people out in the middle of the night. Dad, I know, Li Shangjin nodded. Seeing this, Li Xianyun, Lin Fan and others did not waste any time, left here, and drove back to Li's house. Chapter 350, Not Suitable for Ambush. After Li Xianyun, Lin Fan and others returned to the Li family, they went back to their rooms to rest. They also need to adjust well for tomorrow's battle. In the middle of the night, at the Li family branch, Li Changjin gathered 30 people together. These 30 people are all from the Li family, and there is no one from outside. After all, the sneak attack is a serious matter, and it is necessary to strictly ensure that no one leaks the news. These 3 people were carefully selected by Li Changjin. He can guarantee that there will be no problems and no one will leak the news. Everyone, let's set off now and go to the headquarters base of the Qinglong gang in Bei'an City. Li Changjin glanced at everyone and said thoughtfully, in order to avoid attracting attention, we will drive after we get outside. I have already arranged the vehicles. Just follow me now. Although the family forces gathered here have all voluntarily joined the alliance and will share honor and disgrace with the alliance, the sneak attack is a serious matter. If you can avoid using outsiders, don't use outsiders, and try to avoid letting them know if you can. If they drove out of the branch in the middle of the night, it would definitely attract their attention and would eventually cause a certain impact. Therefore, Before this, Li Shangjin had asked the Li family to prepare the vehicle outside, and they could drive after walking a distance after leaving the branch. Yes, hearing Li Shangjin's words, everyone nodded at the same time without hesitation. Then, under the leadership of Li Shangjin, everyone left the branch and walked for about 5 minutes to the parking place. Get in the car, let's go. Li Shangjin waved his hand and got into a car first. There were a total of 7 cars parked here, enough for them. After everyone got in the car, the convoy drove towards Bei'an City. Of course, in order to avoid colliding with the people of the Qinglong gang, they chose another road. After bypassing a certain distance, it would not be too late to return to the nearest highway. At the same time, a group of people were gathering in an open field outside Zhonghe City. This group of people was Liao Fihuang and others who came from Dongguan City. They were waiting here to meet Dongfangling and others. As for the location, one reason is that this place is very open and convenient for them to gather. The other reason is that this place has not yet entered the geographical scope of Zhonghe City, so it is not easy for the people of the Li family to detect their movements. Of course, during the waiting process, Liao Fihong had arranged for someone to notify Dongfangling and others, and that person brought Dongfangling and others here. The waiting lasted for another half an hour, and the mighty convoy finally appeared in Liao Fihong's sight. This convoy, no need to guess, knew that it was Dongfangling and others. The cars drove over and stopped one after another. Get out of the car, Dongfangling said lightly, and took the lead in opening the door and walked out. Seeing Dongfangling get out of the car, the others did not hesitate at all and also got out of the car. Boss, Liao Fihuang and others saw this and hurriedly greeted him. Dongfangling nodded slightly, his eyes fell on Liao Fihong, and said, "We will not take action tonight. It's tiring to rush all the way here. Let everyone rest for a few hours and enter Zhonghe City in the morning." "Yes," Liao Fihong responded and hurriedly gave the order. After he finished giving the order, he returned to Dongfangling and asked, "Boss, should we send someone in to investigate and see where the people from the Li family and other family forces are gathering?" Dongfangling thought about it and felt that Liao Fihong's suggestion was good. He said, "Okay, arrange someone to go in and investigate. Remember, just let them investigate. There is no need to have any conflict with the other party, let alone be caught by the other party." "Okay, boss, I will arrange someone I trust to go," Liao Fihong promised. "Well, go and arrange it." Dongfangling waved his hand. Liao Fihong did not waste any time and hurriedly made arrangements. A total of 10 people were sent to sneak into Zhonghe City to investigate the situation. Next, they each rested when they should rest, and stood guard when they should stand guard, just waiting for time to pass. It was 6 o'clock in the morning, and it was foggy and not bright yet. The 10 people Liao Fihong arranged to go to Zhonghe City to investigate in the middle of the night returned at this time. Liao Fihong glanced at them and asked, "How is it? Have you found out, Deputy Gang Leader?" "We found out that those people gathered at the place where the banker used to be," a middle-aged man in his 30s answered. "Okay, I know," Liao Fihong nodded, and then walked towards Dongfangling's car. Dongfangling asked Liao Fihong to get in the car to talk. Sitting in the parking space, Liao Fihong immediately said, "Gang leader, they found out that those people are in the courtyard of the banker's house. Have you been to that place?" Dongfangling asked. He himself had not been there. After all, he had been busy with his own affairs, and most of the time he was in Bei'an City, so he had no time to run to Zhonghe City. "I went there once," Liao Fihong answered. "Do you still remember the terrain over there?" Dongfangling asked again. "Well, I know it roughly," Liao Fihong nodded. "Okay, then let me ask you, is that place suitable for an ambush?" Dongfangling continued to ask. Liao Fihong thought about it carefully, and after a while, he shook his head and said, "It's not suitable. Even if there is an ambush, it can't have much impact on us." Liao Fihong is not a pushover, and he can analyze these problems roughly. "It's okay if it's not suitable," Dongfangling nodded, and kept trusting Liao Fihong's answer. "In this case, we don't have to worry about whether they will arrange an ambush." "Yes, boss, we definitely have more manpower and material resources than them. They can't be our opponents. Even if they have any tricks, it will be useless in the face of strong strength," Liao Fihong said with a smile. "Well, notify everyone to prepare to set off after eating," Dongfangling ordered. "Okay," Liao Fihong nodded, not daring to waste time, got off the car, and quickly notified everyone. The process of eating for everyone was about 10 minutes. After seeing everyone finish eating, Liao Fihong waved his hand and said, "Everyone get in the car." Yes, everyone answered in unison and returned to the car. "Let's go." Following Dongfang Ling's order, the huge convoy started moving, quickly leaving the area and heading towards Zhonghe City. At this point, they no longer needed to hide anything, they just had to tell the Li family and other family forces in a big way that they were coming. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.